San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Monday to everybody, or Tuesday. Already off to a great start. We're already off to a great start. Happy Tuesday, everybody out there in America's finest city. It was a long weekend for me. A fun weekend, but a long weekend. I don't think I had a longer weekend than the Padres, and we're going to get to that in a second. But, I mean, I when I was logging on to the computer today, I told Frank, I was like, I feel like I haven't done this in forever. Had the road trip with Cathedral Football over the weekend, did my show Friday in San Jose. I'll have to do that again in October. For the first weekend of October, I'll have the one show. We'll have to travel with them again. It worked out. It was actually a lot easier than I thought. It was my first time ever doing a hotel show, which everybody's done so many different times. But Thursday after our show, got to the airport, flew up to San Jose, Ubered over to the hotel, which was a 0.5 of a mile away, half a mile. Maybe at most from the hotel, from the airport, got packed in, all that stuff, got my room, was with the football team for the, most of Thursday night, all of Friday. Don's got a victory, won 35-7 over St. Francis. That was fun. It's a fun game. St. Francis got an interesting field. They have like a tree that's like in the middle. It looks like it's in the middle of their field. It's in the corner of their end zone. There's a beautiful school up there in the San Jose area. Mountain View, I think, is the area that it's called. But it was fun. Early morning Saturday, came back, landed, had a good afternoon here in San Diego, then went to the USD game. USD football against Cal Poly, worked it for ESPN Plus with Jack Cronin. Cal Poly looks pretty good. USD was a little shaky on offense. I don't know how much of that we're going to talk about on the show. From there, Sunday, multiple fantasy draft days with the Padres on in the background. Got to watch great college football over the weekend. And then yesterday, had a fun time. Had some friends over. Frank came over. A little barbecue at the Surprenant household. We made brisket. We made pulled pork burnt ends. We made ribs. People brought sides, appetizers, drinks. Pool was open. And we watched Padres baseball until TCU football kicked off. And we'll talk more about college football in the noon hour. But let's talk about the Padres. My weekend was great. I had a phenomenal weekend. Everything about my weekend was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know Frank's Monday was great yesterday. Came over, had a great time. Frank, how was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. Nice, relaxing, calming weekend. Penn State won on Saturday. Got to watch the NASCAR race on Sunday, and then going out, hanging out with you yesterday. A lot of fun.
So we all had a fun weekend. You know who did not have a fun weekend? The San Diego Padres. They did not have a fun weekend. We talked about this at the roundtable on Thursday. Padres get to play. Their next 6 games are against lousy teams from the American League. And what did everybody on the roundtable say? Like to go 5-1. You take 4-2, like to go 5-1. And so the Padres fly to Minnesota, and they play the Minnesota Twins, and they lose 2 out of 3. And they didn't look very good this weekend at all. I mean, Saturday's game wasn't too bad. They hung like 12 runs in that. I mean, they had that one big inning where they the Twins unraveled, and the Padres' bats looked very, very good. But the Padres taking 2 out of 3 would have been acceptable, would have been great, but it would have been acceptable. Instead, They lose 2 out of 3 this weekend in Minnesota, who is terrible. I mean, they're a terrible baseball team. They had 17 players on their 26-man roster the day of their game after the trade deadline. 17 players. I mean, they had shipped off almost everybody on their team. They shipped off Carlos Correa. They shipped off most of the bullpen. I mean, anything that wasn't tied down to the ship was shipped off of Minnesota. And the Padres go over there and they lose 2 out of 3. And what really set the tone was this bad news about Xander Bogaerts being out now for who knows how long. Xander thinks he could come back before the end of the baseball season, before the end of the regular season. We'll see. We'll have an update on that. We'll talk about that at 10:35. And it wasn't just him. So he goes down before the series against Minnesota. And then Fernando is a little bit of a hammy pull out in the outfield on Sunday. He gets scratched from yesterday's game before the game starts. And then, of course, just the icing on the cake for what is probably the worst Labor Day weekend for the Padres in a long time. Jason Adam is probably lost for the season. Awful. Just awful news. And a lot of that's kind of fluky. And the Padres, they lose 2 out of 3 to Minnesota and have already lost their first game to Baltimore. So at best right now in the 6 games against the 6 games against the 2 lousy teams from the American League, the Padres at best go 3-3, which is not even close to what we were hoping for going into the weekend. I don't think it's time to panic yet. I don't think anybody's really panicking. Padres are going to make the playoffs. Okay. Their magic number to make the playoffs now is 19 games. There's still an entire month worth of baseball to be played. An entire month of baseball to be played where you can try to make up ground on the Dodgers, where you can try to make up ground on the Chicago Cubs. But to me, when Arizona goes to LA and takes 2 out of 3 and almost sweeps the Dodgers, it's a missed opportunity when you're playing the Minnesota Twins. And then again yesterday. I mean, yesterday's game, look, you don't have Xander Bogaerts. You don't have Fernando. And even though Jackson Merrill pinch ran in the game, you didn't have Jackson Merrill yesterday either. I mean, those are 3 core players out for the San Diego Padres right now. And I bet you will see Merrill in the game today. But a missed opportunity for the Padres this weekend. I think they could still win despite some of these players not being available. Now, here's the thing. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa got DFA'd from the Pirates. He is available now. The problem is he worth bringing in for the end of the season knowing that he can't participate in the postseason? I mean, the Xander Bogaerts news to me is the most concerning because I think he has the most impact on the roster going into the playoffs. Jason Adam, losing him for the season, and we'll see what the official ruling is on him. But based on the injury that we saw yesterday, based on him saying, I think I heard a pop, based on the diagnosis that was given from Mike Schilt, I can't imagine him being ready for a long time. So I'm not asking. I mean, and I think you can win with the bullpen that you have. Losing Jason Adams sucks. Losing Jason Adam, not the end of the world, though. Fernando having a little bit of a hamstring pull, not that big of a deal. I think he's going to be fine. Having him out for a significant amount of time with a hamstring tear would be a little bit different, and hopefully that's not the case. But when talking about Xander Bogaerts, the guy that everybody wanted to trade away, the guy that everybody didn't want on the team, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a problem to deal with. And who knows? Who knows where Xander Bogaerts will be at the end of the season? Maybe he can make a return just for the end of the year. I don't really think so. He's hoping he can. It sounds like he's going to be in a boot for the next week or so. And then he's going to try to put together, I don't know, getting on the field before the end of the season, for the end of the regular season, hopefully for the playoffs. If you look at what his injury was, I mean, a common time frame for return is like 6 to 8 weeks. You're hoping it's like 6 if that's the case, because you have 4 left in the season. All of these are happening at a rough time. I still think these injuries are happening at not the worst. I mean, if it happened like a week before the playoffs or 2 weeks before the playoffs, you're losing guys for the postseason. As of right now, you're really only losing Jason Adam for the postseason. And hopefully you got Jackson Merrill back in the lineup today. So, again, with the waiver period, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa ended up getting picked up by Toronto since that article was written on Sunday. And Ha-Seong Kim got picked up by Atlanta. How about Ha-Seong Kim got DFA'd over the weekend by the Rays? How many games did he play for the Rays? Like 40 games? Rays were like, yeah, no thanks. And the Braves picked him up. But now you're in a position where you can't pick up anybody and they're eligible. Nobody that you pick up now is eligible for the playoffs. They had to be on the 40-man roster or on the IL prior to August 31st. Not a lot of answers to the problems there. Unless another shortstop gets DFA'd, that's a veteran that you can have coming in to start and make it through the next couple of weeks until Xander Bogaerts potentially comes back. But like I said, not that great of a weekend for the Padres. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll take a look at what the rest of the Major League Baseball did, taking a look at the games that mattered over the weekend, the games that matter this week as you continue to scoreboard watch. Padres now 2.5 games out of first place after the rough weekend against the Twins, and now a start to the week against Baltimore. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, just getting started on a Tuesday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:18 on a Tuesday. Not Monday. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, isn't it?
It's Tuesday.
Just lost the entire British fan base. I'm sorry.
Welsh Friar, not a listener to our show now. Just because of you. It's Tuesday. Long weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, yesterday felt like a Sunday a ton. I mean, it always feels like when you have the Monday off, it always feels like a Sunday. Makes a lot of sense. It's good watching TCU football last night, though. It was great. They went on a tear last night on social media. Hilarious. Hilarious. You know what's not hilarious? What happened over the weekend for the Padres? College football was great. I enjoyed every second of college football. And this weekend, we got the NFL. We got the NFL on Thursday. Frank's favorite league of all time. The National Football League.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I hit the correct hotkey. Hold on. Wait a second.
Wait, what? Did you get the other one? Yeah.
That was
Cowboys
the one
and
I didn't
Eagles.
need to hit.
Should be a good one on Thursday. All right. Back to the Padres. Here's the deal. We got to talk people off the ledge right now. I can't believe the people in the YouTube chat that are talking about how Iglesias is an upgrade to Xander Bogaerts. He's not. Stop it. I mean, even at shortstop.
He draws the foul.
Yeah. I mean, you had shortstop yesterday. Couldn't make a play in time. I mean, he's a solid replacement, but he's not an everyday starter. Not in this point in his career. He's not an upgrade. And Xander Bogaerts had been on a tear during the last couple of months. Okay? That's a major loss. That is a player that the Padres need to get back. The other thing, we got people in the YouTube chat saying like the Giants are going to catch us now. What are you talking about?
He draws the foul.
I mean, it's like you have to be miserable. I don't understand. You guys have to be miserable all the time. So what? It's like what? They lost 3 or 4 this weekend? Right? Going into Monday? Lost 3 games out of 4? I mean, pipe down. The sky is not falling. Oh, here comes all the injuries. Get a hold of yourself. The Padres are fine. Okay? It's fine. I don't know if they're going to be able to win the division like this, but they're going to be fine going into the postseason. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It happens in sports. Everybody's got injuries right now. The Phillies lost one of their best arms for the season. Starting pitcher, Zach Wheeler, out for the year. Dodgers have injuries all season long. Everybody you're competing with right now has injuries. That's part of the equation. You got to be able to battle through with what you got. The Padres roster is still fine. It's still fine. I mean, to say Manny Machado is worse than a replacement player is the most asinine thing I've ever heard. It is so asinine. It's like, I can't believe you guys sometimes. You can be a little bit upset with like the way the Padres played. I am. They played like crap all weekend, except for Saturday. They played like crap all weekend, except for Saturday. You could be a little bit upset about it. But if they win the next 2 here against Baltimore, what do they got after that? They already back to Colorado?
Yeah, back to Colorado and then back here for two series.
Got a lot of series at home. You're playing a bunch of lousy. Everyone's like, I can't believe you said they're playing a bunch of bad teams. They are. They are playing a bunch of bad teams. That's not a broadcaster jinx. It's not a radio host jinx. That's just a fact. They're playing bad teams. Sometimes you go through a little bit of a down spurt playing bad teams. You beat Baltimore twice in the next 2 days. Go take 2 out of 3 from Colorado. I mean, you're going to get back on track very easily. So it's not the end of the world. I look at yesterday's game, and we didn't. I don't want to like fully break down every game that happened over the weekend. Okay, I mean the Padres looked good on Saturday. They did not look good on Sunday. They didn't look good on Friday. I mean, even let's talk about yesterday's game. They answered every time Baltimore put up runs. The pitching staff was okay. I mean, Adrian Morejon that yesterday gave up a home run. They were talking about how a guy hadn't given up a run in I don't know how long. Poor Mark Grant. Mark Grant wore that one bad. Broadcaster jinx. Whatever Mark Grant said has no impact on the game, okay? There's no such thing as a broadcaster jinx. Morejon gives up a bomb to center field. It's going to happen. I mean, it's the law of averages. You're going to regress to the mean at some point in time. Freddie Fermin didn't have that great of a game behind the plate. I mean, it was kind of a rough patch yesterday. But you had no Bogarts, you had no Fernando, you had no Merrill. It's a little bit different of a team not having those guys in the lineup. I thought some guys stepped up yesterday. Bryce Johnson continues to do a great job for the Padres in his role. Continues to do a great job. Luis Ariz yesterday was 3 for 4 with an RBI. He punched. I mean, he never strikes out. To strike out the game at the end of the game is crazy. But every time the Orioles scored, the Padres answered, which is good to see. It would have been nice to see them tack on a lot more runs. Wasn't the case. And I think people are freaking out about Mike Schultz running this team into the ground and this and that and this. Relax. From yesterday's game, Frank, what was your biggest takeaways?
Injury bug is hitting at the worst possible time, and we'll expand on that a little bit later. But to see Fernando go down, you're missing Bogarts for the rest of the year, and now you're missing Jason Adam with just a freak injury until at least next year's All-Star break. This is not a great time for this to be happening, especially coming in the midst of a 1-3 holiday weekend. Not great at all.
It's not the best. I mean, it's not the worst though. If they had all these guys go down on September 22nd, they'd be in a world of hurt.
Yes.
Fernando will be fine. We'll see if he has an IL stint or not with the hamstring. I'm sure they're being extra cautious with him. The Xander Bogaerts thing is very interesting to me the more I kind of read about it. I mean, they think he could come back. We'll see. If he comes back, to me, I feel like it would be in the division series of the playoffs. But I don't know. I don't know the extent of this injury or what he can do, in terms of playing on it or whatever. So, and we'll have an update for you in the next segment, and we'll talk more about the injuries. But yesterday's ball game against Baltimore, Dylan Cease again getting up there in pitch count. Baltimore constantly putting guys on base. I mean, it was high stress pitching for Dylan Cease and the bullpen throughout the afternoon.
And Brandon in chat just said it. That Mason Miller trade, it looked like an excess now. It looked like an excess before, but now it's looking absolutely massive, a season saver.
It's huge. I mean, the four horsemen at the time was it seemed like good enough. And now at this point, when you added the fifth with Mason Miller, you're like, oh, this is even better. But now you lose Jason Adam, you're back to 4. I mean, the Padres had an elite bullpen even before that. So, we'll see what's in store. But again, yesterday, Baltimore scores 2 runs in the second. Padres answer with 2 runs in the second. Baltimore scores a run in the 5th. Padres answer with a run in the 5th. The only time they didn't do it was in the 7th inning. A lot of trying to steal second yesterday with Luis Ariz. That wasn't very great. That's why I don't like seeing Luis Ariz bat leadoff. Got his 1,000th hit yesterday. Got a hit with guys on base, which is, by the way, everything that we wanted to see, Frank. Luis Ariz with guys on base.
Yep.
You don't really see that a lot. Well, you don't get to see that in the first inning with him batting second. And every time Luis Ariz gets a hit, you get people that chirp, see, this is why he needs to be batting in the lineup. Nobody said he should not be batting in the lineup. Just move him down. At this point, you're going to need him to the top. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We will talk more about this Xander Bogaerts situation and the injury bug. Can the Padres survive without Xander Bogaerts for the rest of the year? Is depth a real concern? I don't think can the Padres sustain another injury? I don't think they can. We'll talk about the injuries facing the Padres and where everything stands when we come back and get to your phone calls. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This hour of 97 to the Fans brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. Overwhelmed by processed foods, U.S. Wellness Meats offers an all-natural alternative, 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more. Ship free from family farms. Get 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. Thanks again for tuning in to the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Got a short show tomorrow because it's Wednesday. And the Padres have a day game against the Baltimore Orioles. They will be in action tonight against Baltimore, 6:40 first pitch. EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40. Is tonight the night? Today's the Manny Machado jersey thing, right?
I believe so.
I think it is.
Let me confirm here.
Yeah. People want to know if you brought Boar's Head deli meats to the barbecue yesterday.
No, Arizona Arnold Palmer's.
Arizona Arnold Palmer's. I don't even know how many drinks I have left in that cooler outside.
It's a pretty decent amount,
Probably,
I'm sure.
Probably a lot. Anyway, Gwen and Chris will be on after us, and then EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt into Padres baseball. Talking about some of the injuries for the Padres. Obviously not great. We didn't get too much. I mean, it happened. Here's the second time that we have. This is the second time now, Frank, that we have gone off the air on a Friday and then
To have something immediately happen afterwards.
and then have this person's on the IL now. Oh, Jackson Merrill's on the injured list. Xander Bogaerts is on the injured list. Michael King's on the injured list. Padres pushed for their first National League West title since 2006, hit a major roadblock late last week, as Xander Bogaerts is on the injured list with a non-displaced fracture in his left foot. The shortstop will spend at least a week in a walking boot and hopes to return before the end of the regular season. Bogaerts had been on fire since mid-June, batting .303 with an .835 OPS and ranking second on the team in WAR behind Fernando Tatis Jr. His absence leaves a glaring offensive hole. I mean, think about that for a second from like the first 2 months of the year that we were doing this show. His absence leaves a glaring offensive hole. Yes, it does. With journeyman Jose Iglesias and Mason McCoy stepping in. Iglesias is hitting .228 this year with a .578 OPS, and Mason McCoy is hitting a .82 with a .468 OPS. Yeah, it's a significant downgrade. This marks the second straight season Bogaerts has dealt with a major injury after missing 7 weeks in 2024 with a fractured shoulder. Padres were barely over 500 in that stretch, raising concerns about their depth. The injury also comes as veteran infielder Isaiah Kiner-Falefa hit outright ravers in Pittsburgh, presenting a possible short-term upgrade. He has since been signed by or picked up by Toronto. Padres need to decide on whether to ride it out with Iglesias and McCoy or make a move to hold off division rivals. Ask the question, can the Padres survive without Xander Bogaerts? I think they could survive the next 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know if they can survive the next month or so. I don't know if they can survive the playoffs without Xander Bogaerts. I think it makes it a lot more difficult because now you have to have Iglesias in the lineup or you have to have Mason McCoy in the lineup. I mean, I can't imagine, even though they got outfielders now, I can't imagine them at this point in time, because somebody asked the question of Jackson Merrill, I can't imagine them throwing Jackson Merrill at shortstop. I can't possibly imagine that. But you never know. Maybe he will take ground balls at shortstop. But for everybody that said, well, Ha-Seong Kim got DFA'd, why didn't the Padres try to go get Ha-Seong Kim? Ha-Seong Kim's got a $20 million player option next year. It's something outrageous that doesn't make any sense if you wanted to add a piece. Ha-Seong Kim's option for next year is $16 million on a player option. And he's got a buyout. That's why they didn't pick him up. Guy played 40-something games for the Rays this year and got DFA'd. Can the Padres survive without Xander Bogaerts, Frank?
Yes, but didn't I mean, if he went to the Braves, the Padres never got a shot at him.
Correct. That is also correct.
So they never had a chance.
They never had a chance anyway.
Much in the same way with Walker Buehler getting picked up by the Phillies, the Padres did have a chance at him and said no.
Is he eligible for the postseason? Remember we were talking about that?
I think it happened on the 30th. Did he not get picked up on the 30th?
He had to get added to the 40-man roster. I wonder if they if you put a claim in before the 31st, it counts.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out on Friday, and I didn't see it. Going to the Phillies transactions here real quick.
Yeah, when he did get added to the 40-man roster, I think he is eligible. They would have said he wasn't eligible.
Philadelphia Phillies on 8/31 signed Walker Buehler to a minor league contract. It says nothing about him being on the 40-man.
All right, well.
Yeah, he is not on the 40-man roster.
That means he is not eligible for the postseason.
Yeah, even as of right this moment,
he's still
3 days later,
roster.
he's not on the 40.
Right. So why? And they because he had to clear waivers. Remember, it was a 3-day waiver period. So the only way you were going to get him on a playoff roster is if you put in a waiver claim. They didn't do that because we talked about this on Friday.
Yes.
To me, it only made sense if you signed him as a free agent, not on a waiver claim because of the money that he was getting paid. And the only way you could have him for your playoff team is if you did put in a waiver claim for him, which the Padres did not. And I don't think that would have been worth it to potentially add Walker Buehler to the rotation. But anyway,
correct.
Philly's in a little bit different of a situation with not having Zach Wheeler. But Walker Buehler won't be eligible for the playoffs unless they do the, whatever. Appeal, write a petition,
try to
a
get
letter
an exemption,
to the commissioner. Okay, back to the injury thing. You think they can survive without Xander? You think they can survive the playoffs without Xander?
Not the postseason, but the regular season, I do. I think they'll be fine. There's not much longer to go. I believe it was Marty Caswell who brought it up yesterday or 2 days ago about Jackson possibly moving to short. He said he'd be down to do it. So this way you keep Sheets' bat in the lineup. You have him play left. Laureano moves to center, and then you have Merrill back to his natural position at short. I wouldn't mind that. I would not mind that for the rest of the regular season. If it has to be done in the postseason, I think that's your best option going into the postseason. But I don't see this being a massive issue for the rest of the regular season because you're more or less already in. It's what are you going to do in the postseason when that comes around?
I think Merrill at shortstop would be sick. I don't think they'll do it though.
I don't think they'll pull the trigger on that.
No, because now he's got to go. Now he's got to get thrown into shortstop.
They should.
It's his natural position though.
If they
have Laureano could play center, you can have O'Hearn in left,
Sheets,
and you can have Fernando's in right. And while if Fernando is battling the hamstring, I mean, you could have Sheets and O'Hearn in the outfield with Laureano in center. It gives you a better opportunity from an offensive standpoint. Now, here's where I disagree with other hosts on our shows. I don't care about defense at all in baseball. I don't care about defense one lick. I could give a rat's ass about defense in baseball.
So waiver trade for Anthony Volpe then?
No, I just want I want the best 9 bats in the lineup from the Padres possible. That's what I want to see. I think this does that. And I still think you're okay defensively. I don't think I'm not in the category of just, playing a bunch of Joey Gallo's not a very good example, but a bunch of guys that just can hit and are awful in the field. But I don't need my best defensive lineup out there. I want my best offensive lineup out there. Because I mean, you look at teams that can make it to the World Series. Now you have to be good in almost everything, but out of the here's the deal. Here's the question for you. You can either you only get to have elite of one thing: pitching, hitting, or defense. The other two are going to be the worst. What do you want?
I'd rather defense be a little bit more lacking.
Correct. You'd probably go with elite pitching first. Right? In baseball, elite pitching.
Yes.
You could have the best. I'll give you the best 5 starting pitchers and the best bullpen arms. You get the best 13 guys in Major League Baseball. You pick that's elite.
Mm-hmm.
You either get to do that, or you get to pick the best 13 position players that can hit, or you pick the best 13 defensive players. I'm telling you right now, you're never going to take the defensive one. If you had to pick one area of your team that lacks, it would be defense.
Mm-hmm.
It would. I'd rather have guys that can hit than guys that can field. We've seen Padres teams that could just field and play defense. They don't score a lot of runs. They don't do a lot of damage in the postseason. They get mowed down by elite pitching, and it's like, hey, we're great defensively. Yeah, when the ball's going over the fence, you can't really stop it. So it's not, there's ways to score around the defense. To me, defending like defensive players, I think it's great when you got guys that can field, but I'd rather have the best 9 hitters in the lineup more times than not.
It's icing is what it is.
Yeah, it's icing on the cake. It's the vanilla ice cream on peach cobbler. That was good yesterday, by the way. That's what it is. So I look at this lineup. Now, I don't think they'll do that. I don't think the Padres don't like moving guys around too much. And when they do move guys to different positions, it's usually in spring training when they have time to acclimate. And here's the deal. I firmly believe Jackson Merrill could play shortstop tonight and not miss a beat.
No.
He's an athlete.
And again, that's your best option. If you want the best lineup out there that you possibly can, it would be Fermin catching, Arise at first, Jake at second, Merrill at short, Manny at third, Sheets in left, Laureano in center, Fernando in right, with O'Hearn DHing. That is the best lineup that you could put out there. May not be the best defensively. I mean, it'll be fine. It'll be passable defensively, but that would be the best offensive lineup you could put out there.
I hate the argument from people like it's so hard to play shortstop in Major League Baseball. Yeah, it is. You know who it's not as hard for somebody to do that? You know who it's not difficult for? Major League Baseball players that are athletes that could play any position because they've been playing every position their entire life. You can move them to shortstop if you wanted to. They're not going to do that. They're going to let Jose Iglesias have a chance here for the next couple of weeks. I don't want to see Mason McCoy in the lineup like a lot at all. And we've had people in the chat say Jake Cronenworth. I mean, Jake Cronenworth could play a fine shortstop.
But then you're opening up.
Then you're moving everybody else around again.
You're opening up what we said you should never do, which is a Jose Iglesias DH, because that means O'Hearn playing first base. You don't give up DH spots like that. So that's why you keep Jake at second base. So this way you have one of your 2 DHs, Sheets or O'Hearn, playing your DH spot, and you can switch O'Hearn and Sheets as you need to.
I mean, the Dodgers have Mookie Betts playing shortstop. He's a better outfielder than he's a shortstop, but he gets the job done. He's fine.
House of Hoff, yeah, you would DH Jose Iglesias, but in no way, shape, or form should you ever be DHing Jose Iglesias. He's not that good a hitter.
Yeah.
He's not as good a hitter as O'Hearn. He's not as good a hitter as Sheets. He's not as good a hitter as even Merrill. So you never ever want Jose Iglesias in a DH role. He was brought here for his glove and his energy. That's why he was here. He's a middle infield. He's an infield replacement. That's what he is. If somebody needs a day off, Iglesias is the first guy off the bench.
Right. You would have to because again, so you move Cronenworth to shortstop. That means Arise has to play second.
Yeah, Arise moves to second. That means O'Hearn plays
first. Which means you have Sheets now in the outfield. He's now in left. And then you got Laureano. He's in. No, I guess you got Laureano in left. And then you could have Merrill in center and Fernando in right. And then Sheets, I guess, would be your DH. You could have Sheets DH. Technically.
I was thinking, chugging the coffee.
No, getting some water in.
Oh.
So I guess, I mean, you could do it that way too. But I think to go back to defense, even though I think offensively it's better, I think you got a better chance with Jackson Merrill playing shortstop than Jake Cronenworth.
100%. And I think that's what they should do if if Xander's not ready for the postseason.
Right. This is again thinking postseason wise. They could survive with Jose Iglesias at shortstop for the remainder of September. Against the teams they're playing, and before people start freaking out, we lost 3 of the 4. Against the teams they're playing in September, you can survive with Jose Iglesias at shortstop the rest of the month.
Yes.
They can beat Baltimore. I mean, they almost beat Baltimore last night without Xander, without Merrill, even though he pinch ran, without Fernando. I mean, think about the lineup they had yesterday. They could still beat these teams with the team that they have and the team that they had built.
And that was a makeshift lineup because the lineup was already out, and then they took Fernando out.
Correct. But when you get to the playoff time, you want the least amount of Jose Iglesias and Mason McCoy in the lineup as humanly possible. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's go down to the South Bay. Clay, leading things off today. What's going on, man?
Hey, gentlemen. Hey, just enjoying a nice after Labor Day Tuesday. Ohio State versus, the number 1 Texans. Let's just say it. They did win, as I thought they would, and everybody else did. Again, why do you make them number 3 when they should be number 1 after winning the championship? Oh, well, blah, blah, blah. But I will say this about the game. I'll say that Manning's offensive line is going to get that guy killed. I really do. I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's got some fast feet. He can endure, but man, that O-line of his looks suspect. As far as Ohio State goes, I mean, Smith early in the game looked like he had rented hands. I was like, oh my God, last year he was the go-to guy, and I think he still is. And then Donaldson as a running back, he looks pretty explosive. As far as the Padres, yeah, we dropped a couple. We had some lineup changes. We lost Adam, which is I think that's a big loss, but we can overcome it. We've got plenty of pitching. We just don't have Adam now. As far as playoffs, I think minimize your changes to the infield and outfield. If you got to put Merrill at shortstop, that's probably would be the best bet, and try to keep everybody else where they are. You still want to keep continuity in the defense. As far as offense goes, let's face it, guys, kind of struggling a little bit. Getting guys on, not getting them in, but hey, you still got to play these remaining games, and you got to play to win. Other than that, I think it's a great day. Tonight's a win. Love my Padres.
That's right, Clay. And you got your Browns starting up this weekend. Should be a fun time. Texas and Ohio State on Saturday. Good football game. I thought, overall defensively, both teams are ready to go. You have 2 quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, getting used to college football. Arch Manning's played in 2 games, but he's never started a game like that. He looked okay. I mean, he had that one good throw up the sideline that was fine, but he looked okay. Julian Sand looked all right. I mean, he didn't look phenomenal. He throws a very good ball, but he looked okay too. And obviously got a lot of growing pains that they're going to have to go through. And we'll see how Sand does on the road for Ohio State. I thought that was a good game though. I mean, we all knew Ohio State was going to win that game. It's at the Horseshoe. I mean, Texas going in there and winning was to get it, and we'll see what their O-line looks like. I mean, Arch Manning was running for his life on Saturday. We'll talk more about college football in just a little bit. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista. Kevin, you got a little bit of time here. What's going on, man?
Well, I'm not surprised, what's happened with the current state of affairs with the Padres. I disagree with Clay. You don't move somebody over to shortstop that hasn't been there since Jesus was a child. You just don't do that. Winning teams don't do that at this time of the year. If it's spring training, Braden, that's another thing. Look, there's baseball truths out there, despite all of the psychoanalysis that's going on, that still ring true. You've got to have great starting pitching if you're going to go to the World Series. The Padres have not had that all year long. Dylan Cease has been an absolute fundamental disappointment. AJ counted on this guy to turn it around. He hasn't. Let's call it what it is. It's a fundamental failure with Dylan Cease this year. You've got the Yu Darvish Nestor Cortez, up and down all around, haven't had a spring training, haven't had dead arm periods. That's a problem. Then you've got the Michael King saga. And I swear to God, Braden, I've watched and been a fan of baseball and the Padres for over 55 years. I have never seen this, where someone has a boo-boo on their shoulder, and then all of a sudden a boo-boo turns into a season-long debilitation. I don't get it. And if anyone expects this young man to come back and all of a sudden become Sandy Koufax in this short amount of time, which he hasn't been stretched out, he hasn't had his length of time needed to go through dead arm. So you're going to have a very choppy ending here. I don't know how it's going to go. You've got the injuries.
Well, yeah, and we're going to address some of the problems that Kevin brought up when we come back for the next hour. Kevin, appreciate the phone call. If you want to give us a call, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Starting hour number 2. Coming up next. 11 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant show. Somebody's mad that we cut Kevin off before the deal. Should have let him talk, dude, through the break.
If it wasn't us cutting Kevin off, it would have been our breaks, because after 55-15, nothing we say gets out on air. We're cut off.
People amaze me. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk college football in the next hour. We're talking Padres baseball. People, the doom and gloom is back after losing 3 out of 4 games over the weekend. And I include a Monday on that as well, just because it was a long weekend. And the thing is the Padres are coming in right now, headed into a weak September week. Padres playoff push and another bump with a 7-2 loss to the Twins on Sunday, capped a 2-4 road trip and marking their 3rd straight series loss on the road. Still, optimism is high in the clubhouse heading into September. San Diego was 76-61 on Sunday. Now 76-62 after the loss yesterday to the Baltimore Orioles. Chasing the Dodgers with their saving grace has been Petco Park. 43-22 home record, best in Major League Baseball and fewest home losses. 12-4 at home since the All-Star break with 5 straight series wins. 16 of their final 25 games are at home with upcoming matchups against struggling teams like the Rockies and the Reds. Manager Mike Schilt and veteran hitters like Gavin Sheets believe this team is built for a September surge, similar to last year's 9-1 mid-September run that clinched a playoff spot, but the Padres' road struggles remain a glaring issue, with Sheets admitting they must, quote, find a way to match home energy on the road. The next stretch, including a big homestand, could determine whether the Padres catch LA or settle for a wild card spot. They're 2.5 games behind LA, which is really 3 games behind LA. Really 3 games behind LA. Which makes it even more difficult to try to catch the Dodgers for the division. Again, I look at catching teams in terms of games, in terms of series, because that's where you make up ground. Padres could have made up ground over the weekend when the Dodgers lost 2 out of 3 to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They missed it. They missed an opportunity. Take 2 out of 3 from Baltimore. See what you got as the Dodgers continue to play, easier schedule too. But you have to make up series. So they're 3 series back, essentially. You have this series that you have to try to win now against Baltimore. You have a series against Colorado, then Cincinnati, Colorado again, New York, Chicago, Milwaukee, Arizona. You have 7 series left. So in 7 series, you have to win 3 more of those than the Dodgers do. 3 more of those than the Dodgers do. That's why it's difficult. That's why it's difficult. At this point in time, I don't want to say that the division is over, but it's not looking great. You had an opportunity over the weekend to take 2 out of 3 from the Twins and gain another game back. You had an opportunity against the Dodgers to do it. You got swept in LA. They could say what they want, the Padres can, but the reality is you're probably not catching them. You had your best chance. So now, to me, it's all about winning in the postseason and not really surviving without Xander and maybe some other players, but having to thrive coming up. So when talking about the Padres alignment, we talked about, the only reason why people are freaking out today is because they're not winning the division. If you're thinking about it from a division standpoint, yeah, the sky is falling. This team is not going to do it. I hope they do. They're not going to do it. If we want to be real, which I've been real the whole time. I've never not been real. People say I'm not real because they don't believe what I have to say. Or They just want me to be extremely negative and act emotional like they do a lot in the, YouTube chat and on social media. But the reality of the situation is it's never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think. So from a division standpoint, yeah, the sky is falling for the Padres and trying to track down the division. I think they missed their best opportunity for that. In terms of winning in the playoffs and making the playoffs, no. There's still plenty of time in the regular season to get things right, to make the adjustments that you need to make with the players that you are currently losing to injury, and they have the ability to make a run in the postseason. I mean, you look at the Padres starting rotation, which has been a problem. Everybody's freaking out about the starting rotation. Starting rotation is for the regular season. The bullpen is for the postseason. That's what it's been the last couple of years in Major League Baseball. It's been about bullpens and not about starting pitching. Look at the Dodgers last year. The Dodgers last year had 2 starting pitchers. Their bullpen won them all the games. Padres have a good enough bullpen for that. When you look at other teams in the last couple of years, it's been bullpens and playing for the games, winning them early, getting what you can out of a starting pitcher, and then getting to your bullpen that's lights out. And the Padres still have that type of bullpen, even with not having Jason Adam probably for the remainder of the season. It's still fine. Okay, so again, there's a difference. If you're thinking about the division, yeah, you could say the sky is falling. If you're thinking about the playoffs and trying to win a World Series, it's not. So, I don't think they should have a concession speech about not winning the division. You could always keep the hope on that and see what happens. You never know. You got an entire month left of baseball. But let's talk about the situation of if Xander Bogaerts can't go in the postseason. Now, we just talked about this on the last segment. He thinks he can. He thinks he can be back by the end of the regular season. He thinks he can participate in the postseason. We will see. Injuries in professional sports now is always so vague, and, unless they say it's a season-ending injury, it's always up day to day. We'll see. Maybe he can come back. We think he can come back by this time. We've heard a lot of the injury reports from the Padres over the last handful of years. But until he's back, there's really nothing you could say about it. Let's talk about what the lineup would be, or what the best 9 you can put out there for a postseason game without Xander Bogaerts. And to me, the best lineup out there, which I don't think they will do. I'm going to preface this again. I don't think they're doing this. I don't think they're going to do this. But let's talk about it. Jackson Merrill being at shortstop, I think, is their best move. You got Ramon Laureano that can play center field. You got Fernando in right field. You could put Gavin Sheets in left field. Your outfield is not terrible. It's not terrible. It's still a good outfield. Merrill at shortstop, Manny at third base, Jake Cronenworth at second, Ryan O'Hearn at first, Freddie Fermin catching, Luis Ariz DHing. That's a pretty damn good 9 for the San Diego Padres without Xander Bogaerts, which is what everybody wanted 3 months ago. Now you got it. That's a pretty good lineup. I don't think they'll do it, but, and we've talked about this, we just mentioned it. Padres like to give guys time to acclimate to their position if they want to move positions. It's usually a spring training thing. You have a month for Jackson Merrill to get shortstop reps at the major league level. And I'm going to tell you right now, the kid is an athlete and an all-star. He can do it. It's not a crazy ask. The whole changing position things drives me nuts, because baseball people think it's the most incredibly difficult thing in the world. It's not. These guys are all insane pro athletes. You're not asking Freddie Fermin to play shortstop. You're not asking Luis Ariz to play center field. You're asking arguably your second best athlete on the team to play a position he has played his entire life. That's not difficult to do. So, you let him do it for a month. You let him play there for the month of September. And let him get right for October, which is what you would want him for anyway. Now, this is all relative to whether or not Xander Bogaerts can actually come back or not. But if you do not have Xander Bogaerts for the postseason, Jackson Merrill playing shortstop gives you the best opportunity to win over Jose Iglesias being in the lineup and Mason McCoy being in the lineup. I would rather have the 9 best players that can hit in a lineup over a couple of guys that, defensively, this guy can play shortstop compared to the other guys. And the other thing, it's not like you're putting Fermin at shortstop. It's not like you're putting Ryan O'Hearn at shortstop. It's not even like you're moving Manny over to shortstop, which he could probably do it too. Your best opportunity to win in the postseason without Xander Bogaerts on the roster and being on the injured list, to me, is Jackson Merrill at shortstop. Again, for anybody just tuning in, I've prefaced this before. They're not going to do that. Knowing the Padres, I highly doubt that they do that. And if I had a choice between Merrill or Tatis or any of these former shortstops, Jackson Merrill is the best option for shortstop for the Padres in the postseason. I gave you the roster. That would be my 9 guys in the order. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is that not your 9 best guys in an October baseball game? You have to get a victory. Why wouldn't you do that? I think it's worth it. Now is the time to make the choice. Now is the time to give him reps. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Tell me what you think. And when we come back, we'll talk more about Jackson Merrill playing shortstop, as well as some tiebreakers that might have an effect on the playoff race here on the Braden Surprenant Show. Baseball talk on 97 to the Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. Talk a little Padres baseball for you. I don't mind. I like the lineup we just came up with. I think that gives you the best chance to win in the postseason if you do not have Xander Bogaerts, Frank.
I'm going to be honest. I was doing other stuff. I did not hear the lineup.
I didn't go batting order, but I gave you the defensive lineup.
Okay.
You have Sheets in left, Ramon Laureano in center, Fernando in right, Manny at third, Jackson Merrill at shortstop, Jay Cronenworth at second, Ryan O'Hearn at first base, Freddie Fermin catching, and Luis Arraez DHing.
Okay, so basically what I said just flipped O'Hearn and Arraez. Yeah. I don't
think
mind
it's
that.
your best opportunity to win in the postseason if you do not have Xander Bogaerts, and you have a month to let Jackson Merrill, who is a shortstop by trade, who was drafted as a shortstop, who came up in the minor leagues as a shortstop, to get his feet wet at shortstop at the major league level.
No, I don't mind that at all. That is, if you want to put your best offensive and defensive lineup out there, Jackson Merrill has to play, and he has to play shortstop.
I
That's
agree.
the only place he's going to fit, because if you don't, then Sheets is out of the lineup for O'Hearn if you're going to DH Arraez, if you're going to play Arraez. I don't, that is your best lineup.
Those are your 9 best bats, and then they are in the best positions that they can play in defensively.
Yeah.
And that's how you make a lineup.
100%.
You make your lineup based on your 9 best players that can hit on the roster, and then place them in places in which they can have the most success defensively. So when you put together your 9 best hitters, it's Merrill, it's Arraez, it's Manny, it's Fernando, not in that order. It's Ryan O'Hearn, it's Ramon Laureano, it's Gavin Sheets, it's Freddie Fermin. Freddie Fermin can only play catcher, so he's at catcher. Manny's the third baseman. Leave Fernando in the outfield. Now you get in the situation like Jackson Merrill playing center, probably your best option at center, but you need a shortstop. I think Jackson Merrill's a better fit at shortstop than Jake Cronenworth. I think Jackson Merrill's a better shortstop fit than Manny Machado. I think Jackson Merrill's a better shortstop fit than Fernando Tatis Jr. And out of the 9 guys that I mentioned to fill out a lineup card, Jackson Merrill is the best fit, in my opinion, at shortstop. And as I've said before, and I'm going to continue to preface this, I don't think they're going to do this at all. I don't think they're going to do this one lick. No way. They're not going to do this. And as Go Aztecs in the chat says, and I agree, hopefully this won't matter and Xander Bogaerts comes back.
Sure.
But this is all like break glass in case of emergency if there's a diagnosis or a setback where we don't have Xander Bogaerts in the postseason. That is what we're talking about.
Let's not break glass, maybe, especially not near the pool.
Yeah. I can't even say you broke the glass yesterday.
Because I didn't.
He cleaned it up, though, preventing from getting a foul. Football's getting thrown around. By the way, who brought the glass bottles? Do cans by the pool. No glass bottles. Had a glass bottle on a table. We had Frank playing pool quarterback from the outside, throwing routes. I heard you were throwing some dots yesterday.
Yes, but with a bar of soap, effectively, as
That's
as
what Crumb caught the ball.
Crumb said the ball was as slick as a bar of soap last night, and he was not wrong.
Frank's out there throwing dots. Ball comes in a little low, knocks a Corona bottle over, shatters next to the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Music stops. Thank God I had the HVAC.
Yes.
Ready to go to clean up some of the glass bottle. By the way, how about this? Maybe we talk about this in the noon lunchtime hour.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
We had multiple fouls that needed to be handed out yesterday. Multiple fouls that needed to be handed out yesterday, all for barbecue etiquette. I want to know what people think about the barbecue etiquette on this. Cookout etiquette, hangout, barbecue, whatever it is. And it has something to do with offering to bring something. That's what we're going to leave it at. We'll talk about this in the 12 o'clock hour. There were fouls being handed out yesterday. And Johnny, who's been in the chat this morning, was handing out fouls. Let me tell you. He was even handing out fouls for certain things that actually were brought to said barbecue. We'll talk about that in the noon hour. Okay. A lot of interesting situations with the tiebreakers and how they can affect the playoff races. Do we want to get into this now, or do we want to wait to the next deal?
It's up to you, honestly.
I think we'll talk about that in the next segment. Good time at the barbecue yesterday. Again, I want to get into that in just a little bit. AP poll came out. We could talk about that. We're going to go into more detail in the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State number 1, Penn State 2, LSU 3, Georgia 4, Miami 5, Oregon, Texas, Clemson, Notre Dame, South Carolina round up the top 10. Illinois, Arizona State, Florida, Florida State, Michigan, top 15. Iowa State, SMU, Oklahoma, A&M, Ole Miss, top 20. Alabama at 21. Tennessee, Indiana, Texas Tech, Utah round up the top 25. Any takeaways out of that yet?
How pathetic one of the top chatters is. Apparently a USC fan. You keep sleeping on USC. It's like, bro, you beat Missouri State. What are we talking about?
What do you mean
now?
I'm sleeping on them?
No. Somebody in the chat
Oh.
said said you guys keep sleeping on USC. It's like, bro, you beat Missouri State, who's playing its first FBS game. Calm down.
Yeah, relax, big dog. Relax. We also had that other update that I wanted to get to from John Rothstein. Did you guys see this?
No.
When it was Rothstein was saying that UCSD might be switching conferences.
Oh, yes.
When's the last time we saw one of these? Where they're going to switch conferences. Our team, they're going to have two teams in town that are going to be in the same conference. I got to go find. Apparently, I can't spell John Rothstein. Here's the tweet from Rothstein. UC San Diego is finalizing details to join the West Coast Conference for the 2027-2028 season, a quality addition for the conference as it transitions post-Gonzaga. So the West Coast Conference is mostly Catholic schools, all private schools, are adding UCSD, apparently, according to John Rothstein, starting in the 2027-2028 season. So that would mean UCSD is leaving the Big West, which is for basically every UC and Cal State school in Hawaii, before Hawaii permanently moves to the Mountain West. That's an interesting move. I don't get it. I mean, it was shocking to me that I saw it today. But you're going to have USD over in Linda Vista in the same conference as UCSD just up the road in La Jolla. That's got to be the closest conference mates in Division I athletics.
Well, I'm seeing, as I just typed it in, Duke and UNC are both in Durham. UC Long Beach and UC Irvine, both in Long Beach.
Well, Irvine's in Irvine.
Well, they're calling it the Greater Long Beach area.
They're considering Irvine and Newport the Greater Long Beach area.
Well, that's
a foul. That's a reach. That's a reach. Reaching foul.
He draws the foul.
That's right.
University of Illinois, Chicago, and Loyola. They're saying for Horizons, more or less the Chicago area. Yeah, this one's not. Yeah, this one's more reaching. You could say USC and UCLA. I don't know how you think the Boston, Massachusetts area is Boston College and Syracuse. You're out of your mind.
All right.
On that one.
This is now invalid. This article, this website, wherever you're at.
It's Google AI.
Google AI. Oh, there you go. That's all you need to know. Interesting. We'll see if we get any more news on that. But apparently UCSD is going to the West Coast Conference. When we come back, tiebreakers in Major League Baseball, how it's going to impact the playoffs. We'll talk about it, what you need to be paying attention to. What's the rest of the league doing? I know everybody's just kind of hyper-focused on San Diego Padres, but we'll talk more about the tie-breaking situations as well as the games that are important when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. 11:34 on a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday all day. Start off the show saying it was Monday. That's already. It was already off to a rough start. Should have been a foul out of the gate. Delayed foul.
He draws the foul.
Foul's just flying today.
We got a bunch to hand out in the noon hour.
Yes, we do.
Barbecue etiquette. Barbecue etiquette.
So unless if they're in the chat, I've seen a couple that were there yesterday that are in the chat. If you do not want the Eric Hosmer rejoin promo, I would get out of the chat before the noon hour.
In the noon hour, we'll talk some college football. We'll talk some high school football. We'll talk this particular situation. AP Top 25 poll came out today, just moments ago at 11 o'clock, after the final game of the first week of week 1 was played last night. Welcome to college football, Bill. We'll talk more about that in a little bit.
It looked so good to start off with, too.
Yeah, I was a little stressed watching that. That was right around the time I was slicing brisket, though, so it's okay. And then once everybody started eating, so did the frogs. Got to eat. Back to baseball. I do want to talk about some of these tiebreakers before we get to the sports thread. MLB playoff races are heating up. Tiebreaker rules are more important than ever, especially since Game 163 is gone. Are you for or against that, by the way?
For or against the tiebreaker game?
Are you for or against Game 163?
I mean, it doesn't happen all that often, so I don't understand.
They got rid of it the last couple of years, but...
No, I know, but it didn't happen all too often before that. So it's like, why would we bother making a rule against something that only happened a little percentage of the time?
I don't mind the game 163 was always kind of fun. You got like an extra playoff game.
Yeah.
It was not great for Padres and Rockies that one year. Matt Holliday still hasn't touched home plate.
100%.
But to me, I see it both ways. Like, it's fun, and it's entertaining. Professional sports are supposed to be fun and entertaining. Right? That's what professional sports are. It's an entertainment business. It's not a sports business. It's about entertainment.
And that's what television has made it and is trying to turn sports into.
Even more than it already is. It's about entertainment. So from an entertainment standpoint, I love Game 163. It's entertaining. Now, from the standpoint of like fair, it's not, because if you were any of these situations that we're about to lay out, right, with tiebreakers, you already play everybody at least once. To me, the only time there should be a Game 163 is if you're tied in the standings and you are tied against that team on the overall season, which is never really going to be the case. Like, you play 13 games against the division, each division team, so you're not going to have a tie, right? With 13 games, with odd number of games against every team in the division, you'll never have a tie.
Correct.
You will also not have a tie against the interleague foes because they're all 3-game series. The only time you can get a tie is your interleague rival, which you don't have to worry about Game 163 for that. And a couple of the teams that you got, like some of the other National League teams that you have to play 6 times instead of playing 7 times. That would, to me, I wouldn't mind if they brought back Game 163 and only had it for those situations. I also get why it's kind of ridiculous, because if you look at any situation, like let's just look at the Padres for a second. Padres went 10-3 against the Giants this year, right? Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Let's just say the Padres and Giants tied for a playoff spot at the end of the year. Would it be fair for the team like the Padres, who had already beaten the Giants 10 out of 13 times, to have to beat them one more time in Game 163?
It's kind of pointless.
It's pointless. It's like we already played them 13 times. We beat them 10 out of 13 times. That should count. Why are we playing game 163? So from that perspective, I understand why they don't have it anymore. I know it messes up with pitching and stuff like that. They don't care. Sports are about entertainment. So without game 163 now, playoff spots are and seeding are decided by head-to-head record, division record, interdivision record, and last 81 interleague games, and so on until the tie is broken. In most cases, the head-to-head winner effectively holds a free game advantage over the rival. A tie in the standings means they win the spot outright. So obviously, the Dodgers have an extra game on the Padres. If you start looking at the rest of the league, in the American League East, the Blue Jays hold tiebreakers of the Yankees and the Red Sox, making them heavy favorites to win the American League East. They have a 2.5 game lead on the Yankees, a 2.5 game lead on the Red Sox, which overall would give them a 3 game lead for both. They get that extra half game because they have the tiebreaker. In the American League West, Astros and Mariners, September 19th series will likely decide both the division and the tiebreaker, as whoever wins that series will win tiebreaker over each other. Plus, with the Mariners only being 3 games out, that could be a way for them to make, or should I say, pass the Houston Astros in the standings. American League wild card, Mariners have tiebreakers of the Rangers and Guardians, but not the Royals yet. Royals-Guardians series is September 8th. That looms very large. We haven't paid too much attention to the American League standings just because there's really no reason to. Cleveland's 4 games out of a playoff spot. Kansas City's 2.5 games out. The Rangers have pulled within a game and a half of Seattle. Texas Rangers still hanging around. They went 9-1 of their last 10. Won 6 in a row. And they're 5 games behind Boston. Seattle's 3.5 games behind Boston in the American League wild card. Now, in the National League East, this pertains to Frank's Mets, who swept the Phillies last week. Should have seen his bleeping grin on his face yesterday when Crum walked in.
And then promptly lost 3 out of 4 to the Marlins.
Happens, big dog.
Scored 19 runs on one night.
Too bad you don't get extra wins for that.
No, and it
padding your stats for run differential.
It continues to lend credence to my theory that you only get X amount of runs per series. And if you use them all up on one night, you have none left for the rest of the series.
Just like your mom in yellow pants?
Yep. That one is hers. The runs thing is mine.
Okay. Fair enough. Mom went 5-5 in picks this week.
Yeah, she did.
She's got to pass the knowledge to her son, apparently.
Shut up.
Mets own the tiebreaker versus the Phillies. If they catch Philly, they'd steal the division. They're 6 games out, 5.5 if you want to include the tiebreaker that the Mets have. National League Central, Cubs tiebreaker over Brewers keeps comeback hopes alive as they're 5.5 games back behind Milwaukee. That's the problem, though, is the Padres are trying to track down the Cubs to the number 4 seed in the playoffs, and the Cubs continue to win as they try to hunt down the Brewers. They have that tiebreaker, so they, again, are like 5 games out of the division spot in the Central. In the National League West, the Dodgers tiebreaker over the Padres gives them a, quote, 3-game lead despite a 2-game gap because they have won the tiebreaker. National League wild card, Reds lead the Mets head-to-head 2-1. They got a huge series coming up on September 5th, which will be coming up in the next couple of days. I think, what's that, this weekend? And the Mets could really deal a final blow to the Reds if they take care of business against Cincinnati. They're 4 games up on Cincinnati going into this 3-game series of the weekend.
Yeah, and then the Reds are coming here on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday.
I mean, think about like the Mets and the Padres could do themselves a huge favor and just eliminate the Reds from the playoffs this next kind of trip for Cincinnati. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. In terms of buys, Phillies and Brewers are front runners for NL buys. Blue Jays and Tigers look set for American League buys, although the Houston Astros still have a shot if they take their head-to-head with Toronto. So, in other words, as we look at this stretch, in the final month of the season, with the tiebreakers and no more game 163, some teams don't just need to win games. They need to win the right ones, as you got a lot of big series coming up to finish up the month of September. Padres play tonight. There you go. I knew that was going to get starred.
Chat of the day.
Chat of the day. Let's go Mets.
Chat of the day.
833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. It's time to talk about something other than baseball and other than the San Diego Padres. What's trending in sports? Here's Frank Marchese's Sports Thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got today?
We got, don't ever let anyone tell you that the football gods do not exist, because this past weekend was Lee Corso's final college game day on ESPN. He's been there since, 1998 when it started. It's been absolutely a fantastic ride. And for Lee Corso, all of his picks, not only all of his picks, but all of the picks, all of his schools that he coached, as well as all the schools he played for, all took a W this weekend. Lee Corso was perfect in his last weekend. He took Florida State, they won. Took Maryland, they won. Navy won. Louisville won. Indiana won. Northern Illinois won, as well as Miami. And of course, picking Brutus, his last headgear pick, also wins as well. So the perfect send-off for Lee Corso, I would say.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool that Fox aired it too. His final headgear pick, and end of a very, very long era of College Game Day, wearing the mascot head for the big pick of the big game of the week. He's going to be missed on College Game Day. I mean, he was getting up there in age, and definitely time for him to retire and, do his own thing. So college football thanks Lee Corso's appearances on College Game Day.
Somebody on Twitter, I forget who had it, otherwise I would throw it up, but somebody had every single headgear pick that Lee Corso has ever made on College Game Day, and his record. It was a winning record as well. And his first and last picks, both Ohio State. So
I know.
Good on you.
Number 2.
We go from fun to a two-parter that's not so fun, if you're your friend Perez. Dallas Cowboys starter Dak Prescott didn't think the Micah Parsons trade would happen, but the move to Green Bay did not surprise him either. Dak said, quote, "Just with the way the negotiations went down, obviously to some extent, I mean, y'all were asking me questions about it. It seemed like it got personal there at the end. I'm not going to say we're better. We've got to go out there and prove it. We have to prove that even if he was on the team. So I'm not going to say that by any means. Just happy it's over." So Dak Prescott kind of playing the middle here on this whole Micah Parsons issue.
Well, he kind of has to play the middle part, does he not? I mean, he's obviously friends with Micah and, to an extent, teammates. He doesn't want to throw in. He's got to worry about the Players Association, and also doesn't want to ruffle feathers in his own organization that he is the face of the franchise for. So it's a very interesting situation. I think the Cowboys are going to be okay without Micah Parsons. I still don't think it's the greatest moves in the world for the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is upsetting for a ton of money. I can't imagine, I can't believe, Jerry Jones really wants to make it sound like it's the big, like a Herschel Walker trade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be like that. It's what you do with the picks, though. So see what the Cowboys do with their next first-round picks.
He took the Family Guy mystery box is what he did.
Number 3.
Not great.
Part 2 of said story is some of Micah Parsons' teammates, clearly not Dak Prescott, are saying the all-pro pass rusher was, quote, egotistical and self-centered and did not have positive views of the edge rusher, Micah Parsons. according to the Sports Illustrated podcast done by Albert Beers. Coming out of this weekend's blockbuster trade to the Green Bay Packers, Breer says there was a major difference in the negotiation process between Parsons and the Cowboys ownership compared to how Dallas handled previous contract discussions with Zach Martin, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott. Said, quote, Martin, Lamb, and Prescott were very popular in the locker room, and that not many cases, that's not the case with Parsons, who has rankled teammates in different ways, seen by some as egotistical and self-centered. His podcast created issues too. That goes all the way up the ladder to Dak Prescott. So, did they trade Prescott? Did they trade Parsons because he was egotistical, or did they just not come to a deal?
I think it just didn't come to a deal, to be honest with you. I think they probably wanted to keep Micah Parsons. I think it probably got to a level where it seemed like Micah didn't really want to have a deal in Dallas. You know, it seemed like his number and the Cowboys' number were drastically different. And, you know, I just think they couldn't make a deal come about. And after these trades are made, all of a sudden, you know, you get a little dirt coming out like, well, you know, he wasn't actually that great or whatever. That always happens after these deals.
So that's both sides to that.
Number 4.
With Saturday's upset, Skylar, cover up for a second. With Saturday's upset defeat at the hands of Florida State, number 8 Alabama lost a season opener for the first time since 2001. Second-year Crimson Tide coach Kalen DeBoer slipped to a relatively pedestrian 9-5 to begin his tenure. The program's once untouchable status against unranked teams is a thing of the past after some of the losses DeBoer has suffered as the heir to Nick Saban. Former Texas A&M quarterback and Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel said Alabama's fearsome edge is now gone. Was this an aura-removing loss, as Johnny Manziel had said, for Alabama?
Aura-removing loss. I think so. I think the thing with Alabama football, and like we're going to talk about in the next segment, but their reign of like terror is over.
Yes.
And a lot of it, I mean, Nick Saban was a very, very good head coach. But at the same time, they're winning in an era where they're spending just a little bit more than everybody else to get players. And that's what they were doing for a long time. And now everybody can play by the same rules and can spend money. And Alabama's not what they were 5, 6, 7 years ago. They're just not the same. They're not getting the same players. I think the way that they play is lousy. I mean, I saw a couple of those clips on Twitter, guys jogging to the ball on defense. You used to never see that with Alabama football. Kellen DeBoer is not the answer. But at the same time, you got to pay that dude $70 million to go away. Alabama doesn't have that kind of money. Alabama doesn't have that level of money in the SEC. Think about the differences now. Everybody can spend money. Where are the teams that are getting a lot better? Private schools and schools that are high academic institutions like Michigan and Ohio State and Big Ten schools that have these Fortune 500 company CEO alumni that have all this money, the Texas schools that have all this oil money. It's not just like Joe car dealer in Tuscaloosa that can like write a couple $100,000 check because he's the big shot in Tuscaloosa or give a kid a car. You got people that actually have money spending on teams. Alabama, Tuscaloosa doesn't have those businesses. They don't have it. And so they're going to be an above average SEC team probably for the next couple of years. And then once the Nick Saban era kind of finally gets completely rubbed off, who knows what kind of program Alabama's going to be. But you saw them in that game against Florida State. They got outplayed, outcoached. Not that great of a performance. They're not that great of a foot. They're like Ole Miss now. They're like Ole Miss now.
I think I saw in 14 games, Alabama has 4 unranked losses with DeBoer leading. Then you have 253 games with Nick Saban where he lost 4 unranked games.
Yeah.
It's amazing the fall off that Alabama has taken. And Braden, before we go, I want you to apologize to Joe in Tuscaloosa. Those were several big strays that he caught there, by as Balsamic Vinny noted in chat.
Yeah, well, sorry, Joe in Tuscaloosa. He's got to sell more cars next time. Noon lunchtime hour. Got some fouls to give out. College football to talk about when we come back.
From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Happy Tuesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. Time for the noon lunchtime hour, brought to you by the Craft Taco. Bold flavors at 2 locations, Sorrento Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Alongside Frank Marchese, I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. A little bit of a short show tomorrow because we got Padres baseball at 1:10. Again, it's already Wednesday tomorrow. It throws me off these days. Throws me off some of these days where you have these Mondays off and everything like that. And then, like, next week, don't we have, like, is it next week or the week after when the Padres are in New York?
It's
Thursday off.
the week after. So next week, hold on.
We pause.
Yeah, next week, next week is a normal week. We're going to have the short show on Thursday for the round table. But then the week after that, Thursday off because they're playing the Metsies.
That's right. In New York. Should be a fun time.
And I believe that's our last. Oh, no, the Milwaukee game, the Wednesday after that is going to be our last shortened, preempted show of the year.
Yeah, we don't have any football preemptions.
No,
they don't play football at 1:10 in the middle of the week.
We've got two. So we've got 2 shortened shows with one of them tomorrow and then 1 day off left for the year.
All right, let's dive into what happened over the weekend in college football. We've talked a lot of Padres baseball. In fact, we're going to get to another bit of Padres baseball in just a little bit. There was a article on ESPN. There's like a handful of experts think the Padres can overtake the Dodgers still for the division. I don't know about that, the way things are trending right now, but we'll see if the Padres can bounce back tonight against Baltimore. All right, how do we do in the picks this week, Frank?
Well, you and Skylar didn't do bad. You guys went 6-4.
Nice.
I participated. I was there. I did things. I pretended to know what I was talking about.
Right.
And I went 3-7.
I'm sorry?
3-7.
3-7.
I had 3-7. Yeah, it wasn't good. You and Skylar are both 9-6. I am the opposite of that. I'm
6-9.
I'm 6-9 now.
It's apparently Go Tigers.
Yeah.
GAUX. I like it. Tomorrow's game is at 1:10, correct?
Tomorrow's college game?
No, tomorrow's game against Baltimore.
Oh,
Padre
yeah.
game?
Yeah, it's 1:10.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Somebody said it was at 5:40. No, that's next week's game. Next week's game against the Reds is 5:40.
Yes.
Tomorrow's game is at 1:10. All right, back to college football. Boise State, USF. We'll go through some of the games we picked and then some other things that we noticed about college football over the weekend. Boise State and USF on Friday. Thursday. That was Thursday. I was flying up that day. That was Thursday. Boise State looks awful. They look terrible. I mean, let's go back to the whole power thing. The Power Act Conference. This is your best team in the new makeshift Pac-12 is Boise State. They went to USF and got their ass handed to them. Their quarterback play was awful. They couldn't move the ball. Kept hearing about this like scat back that they got that's very shifty. Yeah, he is. But unfortunately, they had nowhere to go. They're going to take a huge step back this year, I think. Well, maybe they'll bounce back this week, but they looked awful on Thursday. Awful. Cost me a pick, too, by the way.
It's amazing how much it showed they relied on Ashton Genty last year. And showing that them being ranked number 25 was giving them a little too much credit that Genty wasn't their entire team last year. It was that feels like a courtesy pick at number 25 after the way they lost to USF.
Yeah, they look bad. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. They looked bad on Friday against USF. We'll see how that affects the Aztecs. I like where the Aztecs are at, by the way. We talked a lot about it on Friday. We talked a lot about the Aztec game that was played on Thursday. I think San Diego State, we'll talk more about this later in the week. I think the Aztecs can get Washington State.
Yeah.
Did you see Washington State over the weekend?
Looked very beatable.
Yeah. I mean, our guy Matt, huge coup. I mean, I was watching the game because I was like, are you serious right now? They just never really pulled away until like the very end. They're totally beatable, especially with the way San Diego State played against Stony Brook on Thursday.
And losing your starting quarterback to Oklahoma in the portal too. That didn't help you.
No. Yeah, John Matier, who's probably a Heisman candidate. The San Diego Union Tribune has picked up from John Wilner, who writes for the Bay Area News Group. They pick up some of his articles, and they have picked up the power rankings for the Power Act 2.0. And he ranked the teams in this new power conference, right? Power conference, right, Frank?
Yep.
Power conference.
Mm-hmm.
Texas State, number 1. 1-0 after beating Eastern Michigan 52-27. Next up at UTSA. Power conference. Number 2, Utah State 1-0 after beating UTEP 28-16. Power conference.
Hey, UTEP is a team. So let's not take too much away from Utah State there.
Yeah, pick them. Well, they'll be in College Station against Texas A&M on Saturday.
Okay.
Good luck to them.
What are you?
Power conference team, Utah State.
Exactly.
Hey, they should be able to go toe-to-toe with Texas A&M.
Yes.
P stands for power. Colorado State, number 3, lost to Washington, another power conference team. They lost 38-21.
W stands for worried right now, not win.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a power conference. Third best team in power conference, Colorado State. Got smoked by Washington. Jed Fish, Washington, by the way. Not made the college football playoff, Washington. Jed Fish, I run speed option of the bound tree on 4th down in the Apple Cup, Washington. Slightly different Washington Huskies team.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado State got their ass kicked. Fresno State, hey, number 4. They beat Georgia Southern 42-14.
As you should. It's a smaller conference opponent. You should beat them.
1-1. What was the other team that they played?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, it was Kansas.
Don't worry about that.
It was Kansas.
We're not
Kansas.
We're
We're not talking about basketball. No, not basketball. Not basketball.
You got to stop nitpicking.
We're talking about football.
You got to stop nitpicking.
And they got their ass kicked by Kansas. Kansas is pretty good in football nowadays. They're not like they're a lot better. That's the 4th best team in your conference. 5th best team, Boise State. Run out of the building at South Florida, 34-7. Then you got the Aztecs at 6. By the way, they're getting disrespected. They should be ranked higher than 6. I know they beat Stony Brook, but come on. I think they could beat Washington State, which, by the way, is a Pac-12. It's a Pac-2 game. Pac-2 game. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the Cougs, 7th best team in the power rankings. How about that?
So you've already won.
How about that? John Willard does the Pac-12 2.0 power rankings. He's going to do it week to week. And this particular ranking system his power rankings, he's got the 2 teams that are actually Power 5 schools from just a couple of years ago are ranked 7th and 8th. Hey, you know what? Maybe the conference is a lot better than we thought. Washington State beat Idaho 13-10. Power conference. Power conference.
Hey, listen, a win is a win.
Hey, you know what?
You got to get the W on the board.
Yeah, especially when you play them on the road. Wait, you played them at home?
Yeah, well, listen.
You won by 3 at home?
Things happen.
To Idaho?
Things happen.
Do you see their new uniforms, by the way? Idaho's
I
uniform?
did, yes.
Fighting
I saw the,
Spuds? Are you
yes,
kidding me?
I
That's
saw the new
awesome.
helmet, yes.
That's awesome. Fighting Spuds. Then you got Oregon State. They got crushed by Cal. Cal looked good.
Bad games happen.
Cal's quarterback looks good.
Everyone has a bad game.
They lost to Cal 34-15. They're next up against Fresno State. Wow. Another Pac-2 matchup. Comment from John Wilner on the Oregon State-Cal debacle. Not to sound the alarm, but we're sounding the alarm. If the Beavers lose Saturday, their first win might be a long, long time coming. The schedule turns more difficult in week 3 by an order of magnitude with trips to Texas Tech and Oregon. And then a sneaky tough home date with Houston. Good luck. Good luck. Power Conference. All right. Let's get off the Power Act 8. There's 8 teams in the conference, okay? So they're not going to get that. There would be the Power Act 8. Nebraska beat Cincinnati. We talked about that game. That was on Thursday. Auburn beats up on Baylor on the road. Baylor, what a disgrace to the Big 12. What a disgrace for the Big 12.
Turns out Auburn does have one quarterback, huh?
Did they play 3? Did they end up playing 3, or they just played 1?
I don't remember.
Wasn't your
honestly.
turn to watch?
Yeah, no, it wasn't my week to watch them.
Wasn't your week to watch the Auburn Tigers?
No, it wasn't my week to watch Hawaii either, and I'm kind of glad I didn't because Arizona stuffed them.
Yeah, Arizona's. Hey, that was money. That was the best. That was the best Arizona's looked in a long time.
Yeah, coming at the expense of my rebuilt Hawaii Golden Rainbow Warriors there.
All right, B. Tennessee hammered Syracuse. I thought their offense looked good. How about the? Here's the other thing.
Didn't cover the spread though, or they did cover the spread, which is why we lost.
13.5. That's why you
and
lost.
Skyler lost. Yeah,
and I won. With
Shut
the
up,
Vols.
man.
How about the Volunteers of the Nico saga? Aguilar looked fine. Aguilar looked good.
Yes.
Aguilar looked pretty solid. Aguilar looked better than Nico. And what did Nico do for UCLA?
Gave me and Skyler a loss is what he did.
Absolutely nothing. He was terrible. He was terrible. What a waste of money that guy is. That's the guy that held out of a contract with Tennessee. UCLA is like, we'll pay him. We'll pay him. Will you?
What's that thing we also say on this show? Sometimes the best decision to make, the best signing you make is the one you don't make.
The one you don't make? Right, but too early?
Oops. Our bad.
Yeah. Our mistake. I don't know. Maybe paying this kid like all this money who had thrown like 10 touchdown passes last year and didn't do jack you know what in the playoff game was probably not the best idea. And the best move that Tennessee could ever do is tell the kid to kick rocks for wanting all of this money. I'm so great. No, you're not, big dog. Nico was terrible. I mean, UCLA football is bad. Utah destroyed UCLA. I mean, UCLA football is just, it is not good at all. That was a 43-10 ass whipping on Saturday night at the Rose Bowl. An 8 p.m. kick. Poor young UCLA fans had to stay up late to watch their team get their ass handed to them. 43-10. Let's see what Nico did, shall we? Nico was 11 for 22 with 136 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Unbelievable. That's the guy. That's the guy.
As you do.
Come on. This is why like paying college kids all this money is ridiculous. You paid this guy. I don't even know how much money UCLA ended up paying him, but it's obviously more than Tennessee. And Tennessee offered a big dollar sum to Josh Hoover, who turned it down. He went 11 for 22 for 136 yards, a touchdown, and a pick for like, what, $6 million? I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what his contract is. Ridiculous.
Nico's contract dispute where his camp sought a record $4 million per year while Tennessee offered less. His NIL deal is significantly lower, possibly around 1.5 annually.
Too much money. Ohio State beat Texas. We all thought that was going to happen. I thought Sane looked okay. We'll see how he does. He's got, first college game ever, playing at the Horseshoe. playing against Arch Manning. A lot of nerves. Didn't get a lot of help either from Jeremiah Smith, which is shocking. Jeremiah Smith had some very uncharacteristic drops. What else? LSU outlasted Clemson. South Carolina game was interesting for a while against Virginia Tech. That was the most Beamer Bowl game I've ever seen. All those special teams fiascos. Miami beats Notre Dame last second. The Alabama thing's crazy.
Yeah, they looked really bad against.
It's
Florida
over
State.
for them. It's over for them. Wow, the Cal. Nobody's talking crap about Cal, dude. We just talking about how great they looked.
Yeah,
Cal looked great. Yes, I literally said that. He must have missed that part. Quarterback looked good. All right. The Alabama situation. We'll talk about that. Get you the top 25 as we move on a little bit of football hour. Plus, I got fouls to hand out. Who's getting a foul? Barbecue etiquette. Multiple people dropped the ball. We'll talk about it when we come back. All right, 12:21 in the noon lunchtime hour, brought to you by Craft Taco, 2 locations, Serrano Valley and inside Balboa Park's Natural History Museum. Talking some food today as well. It's great. Oh, Labor Day weekend's great. To me, it's one of my favorite weekends. It's one of my favorite holidays now, Labor Day, which is kind of dumb, but I enjoy it. It's in the middle of high school football. Like, high school football's already started. It's the first real weekend of college football, which starts on Thursday and goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I got fantasy football drafts that I usually have to do. I had one on Thursday. I did in my hotel room. That was for the work league here at Odyssey. And then I had 2 on Sunday. So drafting fantasy teams, coaching high school football, watching college football, and it's still summertime, so you get to barbecue and grill outside, get the little taste of fall coming in, even though you don't feel like with the weather. It's a great weekend, and I had a great weekend this weekend. It was wonderful. Got to see Frank yesterday. Invited some people over for a barbecue, made brisket and pork belly burn ends and St. Louis style dry rub ribs, which all was delightful. And to me, that was a real tester for me because I wanted to know if I could do it all at the same time, all in the same Traeger, and have it all ready at 5 o'clock. And I somehow pulled it off. Thank you. I mean, being able to cook it all by itself, it's fine. I've made ribs so many different times now. I've made brisket so many times now. I've never made the pork belly burn ends, although those were the best, it seemed like. And it was trying to figure out when to put it on, when to take it off, when to put this on, when to take this off, when to mix, how much rest time. By the way, got the proper tools for rest. I mean, I let the brisket rest for like almost 2 hours, which was great. And the timing worked out. I put the brisket on 5 o'clock on Sunday, and we ate 5 o'clock on Monday. Great bark, all that stuff. My friend Johnny took some pictures of it. It was good stuff. The ribs were great. Maybe a little over-seasoned to my liking, but I thought those were good. The pork belly burn ends were great. And then the other thing, we had some people brought some sides, drinks, and everything like that. But that's where you get a little bit, that's where I got a little bit of the fouls. So, as someone hosting the event, I bought the meat, right? Because I was going to cook it. Bought the pork belly, bought the ribs, the 3 racks of ribs. I said pork. We had a half a pork belly, we had 3 racks of ribs, and we had a full packer brisket. And so everybody that came over asked if they could bring something. And so I said, yeah, I usually don't do that, but it was all right. Everybody bring something. So I asked somebody to bring a side. I asked a couple people to bring a side. I asked somebody to bring drinks. I asked somebody to bring ice, whatever. I get like night before, so Sunday night, I get a text. Can't bring a side now. I'm sorry. Okay, well, Costco's going to be closed Monday. You either ask to bring something and I tell you and you say yes, or you can't bring said thing. We can figure out something else. You can't bail out of your thing like 24 hours before.
He draws the foul.
Foul. I was promising mac and cheese. All of a sudden, no side. So now I'm in scramble mode. Got to get somebody else to bring a side. Pull that off. My brother came over with his roommates. There's 3 of them. 4 of them total. And the week before, we had agreed upon that they were going to bring drinks and ice. Fair enough. Let the 24-year-olds bring the drinks and the ice. I feel like that's fair, Frank. Let the young guys bring the drinks and the ice. I'm sure they could probably pack a cooler really well. They got that covered, right? I'm at practice yesterday. It's 10:30 in the morning. I already got the brisket, cranked up the heat a little bit to try to get to the right temperature. I was going to go home and wrap the brisket. I'm thinking about that. I got to I still got to put the ribs on and the pork belly, and so I'm thinking about doing all that stuff. I get a text from my brother. He's like, what do you want us to bring? I said, you got to bring the drinks and the ice like we said. And his response was, Well, we drank too much over the weekend, so like we don't want to drink.
He draws the foul.
So we don't feel like we have to bring drinks now. And I was like, what? No. If you're asked to bring something and you said you're going to bring that thing, regardless if you're going to consume said thing or not, you still bring said thing. Am I out of line here, Frank?
No.
I mean, you can't be the guy that's supposed to bring drinks and then shows up empty and says, well, I'm not drinking tonight. That is a major foul. Major foul.
He draws the foul.
There's 4 of them, so you could charge him for 2 more fouls. You can make it sporadic if you want.
He draws the foul.
I mean, unbelievable. I could not believe it. I'm like, come on, man. You show up empty-handed. Well, we'll bring like watermelon and like potato salad. They went to the store, bought watermelon, like a thing of watermelon, potato salad, and like macaroni salad, like the store-bought stuff. Meanwhile, some of us are making stuff from scratch, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. I didn't want the 24-year-olds to bring a side because, the 24-year-olds are going to bring some store-bought thing. I think that's also a fair deal. Let the 30-year-olds bring the sides. Let the 24-year-olds bring the drinks. I think that was a fair breakdown, Frank.
I would agree with that as well.
Logically, I think that was great. But then the 24-year-olds back out of the drinks, and they bring watermelon and sides instead. So I guess I ended up getting everything. So you know what I had to do? I had asked the 30-year-olds to all bring a case of beer, a case of seltzer, that whatever. Ice. We made it work out. But the whole thing is, the whole time, I'm like, this is why I don't ask anybody to bring anything.
And then you have me who asks, do you need me to bring anything?
Right. And by the way, did the dudes bring anything? No, this is all problem with the dudes. The women that were in charge of bringing things over knocked it out of the park. We had like buffalo meatballs and for an appetizer. Great. It was mud. Great. Came through. Johnny in the chat and his girlfriend Ellie said they were going to bring an appetizer. They brought the appetizer. It was great. Erin was in charge of the peach cobbler. Not only did she bring the peach cobbler, she also made brownies and brought ice cream for both. Again, the women knock it out of the park. The dudes, get me out of bringing anything. I'm just going to pretend to volunteer to bring something.
And what's even better is what she said about the brownies. Why she brought the brownies was just in case the peach cobbler fell short, there was a backup.
Yes. She was afraid that the peach cobbler was not going to be great, which, by the way, everybody smoked the peach cobbler.
So not only did the guys not bring anything, and the women did, the women brought backup just in case.
Just in case nobody liked.
It wasn't on the level of what they were supposed to bring.
Yeah. The women understand the assignment at the barbecue. The dudes just, and some of my friends were bringing some appetite. I'll tell you what, though. Mike brought some fresh caught that he caught ahi tuna poke.
Attaboy.
What? You know what? That was good. That was good stuff. It's a great ad. Then we got Will shows up with like 2 store-bought things of salsa and chip. By the way, I have 50 bags of tortilla chips now in my house because everybody that brought the drinks, okay? So the 30-year-olds who I said bring drinks and ice all went the extra mile. Like, well, I'll probably bring some chips and salsa. I have like 1,500 things of salsa and a bunch of bags of chips now in my house, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it. Crumb did not bring ketchup, no. But he also brought chips and queso. Again, the chips, apparently for 30-year-old men and older, it is tortilla chips, it is salsa, guac, and queso. We had all of it.
Yep.
All brought by the 30-year-olds. Hilarious. We did. Herman, we did. Johnny thought he wanted to bring over some carne asada and some pollo. But you know what? We had a lot of meat already. There was a lot of meat. Did you get the meat sweats? Some of us might have. Not me, but some of us might have.
I know a couple did. I did not, but
The bringing the to say to bring the drinks and then not bring any drinks is a major foul. I was incensed at football practice. Incensed. I asked the coaches too. I'm like, hey, is this? Plus, my dad's on the staff, and I said, you know what your son did? He's like, which one, you or the younger one? I said, the younger one.
When was the last time you ever heard me refer to myself in the third person?
Yeah, exactly. I think they all still had drinks.
They did.
Q definitely had a drink or two. I think they all drank anyway. I don't mind it. They had a good time. It's fine. But you can't relinquish the... this is proper barbecue etiquette. We should have gave a tutorial in June, really in May, before the barbecues all really kick off. Now in San Diego, you kind of do that all the time. But and I wanted to make sure Frank didn't bring any Italian cuisine because he was going to overpower my barbecue. So
yes, yeah, it would have.
Keep it to yourself over there. You're able to make a plate on the way out?
I did, yes.
Nice.
Very good. I'm sure my dad's probably biting away at it now, I'm sure.
I got to make those pork belly burnt ends again.
Yeah, those were very, very good.
Delicious. That was the first time making those. That was pretty good. Anyway, that's a technical, especially the drinks. I was talking to the coaching staff about it at Cathedral, and one of them said, like, yeah, he's a Samoan guy, and he's got, he has this big family gathering, and one of the nephews was in charge of bringing the drinks, same thing, but he didn't want to drink, so you know what he brought? A case of water. That's almost worse.
That was almost.
That's almost worse.
That was almost what I was going to bring.
Just a case of water. Hey, if everybody drinks water, yeah,
almost.
But when you ask, what can I bring? The person that's hosting the barbecue is asking you to bring something that they need, not what you are going to consume. We need brews. We do not need water. I have water. If I needed water, I'd ask you to bring water.
And what I brought ended up being perfect because on a nice hot day, you're out by the pool watching a game. Nice to cool off with a little bit of Arnold Palmer's.
Yeah. Main meat was the brisket, Mike B. And then ribs and then pork belly on the side.
Of course, I showed my legs at the barbecue.
There was a pool. Of course, Frank was showing his natural casings. Yeah. How about I would have brought box wine to your barbecue. That's a foul too. You would have been fouled out before you walked in.
He draws the foul.
Is it a foul on Will, by the way, to show up to a TCU football watch party and have North Carolina money line and North Carolina plus 3.5? The overhit for him. I'm glad that
he wore it though.
Yeah. That's also a foul. That is also a foul at a barbecue. If you foul on bringing salad. If you are going to a sporting, sport watching event at somebody's house, and you know what that fan is, you know the household, you know what fan they are, you do not show up in the jersey of the opposing team. You do not cheer for the opposing team unless it's your team and they said it's fine. And you especially do not bet against, you should not even bet the game, period. You do not bet against the host's team.
And also, a foul on you to close this out.
He draws the foul.
Because you said, as the game started, that you swore after the last time you did this,
I was never going to do it again.
You would never do it again. And for being a fraud, which we all are, to be fair, you get a foul for that.
That's fun. Nate Taylor, box wine, you're suspended for 80 games. 80 game suspension, you bring box wine to a wedding. I mean, a barbecue. You know what? I did it.
Your brother brought the wine, but no drinks.
That's it. I tell you what, I didn't want to do it again, but TCU's 2-0 when I make brisket for a big game. They did it in the Fiesta Bowl against Michigan, fun game. Did it against North Carolina last night. And as I mentioned to you before, Frank, where I had to rewatch the game after, I had to do that again. I had to rewatch the game to actually dive into what it was.
Bro. I was sitting there like, yeah, you invited us to this game. You only sat and watched like the fourth quarter.
I had it on Inside too.
No, I know you had it on
stuff.
Inside, but like you weren't like out with us hanging out after all the food was said and done.
I was doing a lot of stuff. I was moving around, talking to a lot of different people. A lot of different walks of life there last night. It was fun. Just do it again. We'll do it for a Mets game. Nah, just kidding. Could you ever host somebody?
We're off on Thursday.
Let me ask you. Maybe we'll take this to the next segment. Could you ever host somebody for like I did, for your favorite team's big game?
For an important game?
Yeah.
God, no.
An important game?
No. For an important game? God, no.
We'll talk about that when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show. We got tickets to give away, right? Yes?
I believe so.
That's great.
I believe it is a ticket giveaway because it's not a part of the. Turn the music off, everyone. Calm down. Because I don't believe it's a part of the giveaway, the qualifier gimmick. So I believe we do have tickets.
Those are
I believe
yeah.
it's just ticket giveaways that we have today.
Okay, we don't have a prize for the Midday Sports Standoff. If I'm reading this correctly.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
All right. If I'm reading this correctly, and I think that I am. All right. So we could do that for the Midday Sports Standoff. If you call in and take me down to sports trivia, you will win 2 tickets to the Head and Heart at Gallagher Square on September 29th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
But I believe we have to give these away, though.
We have to give them away.
So if you don't win them, then it's going to become
They're going to be open
the next...
for everybody at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go.
What's going on in the chat?
I have no idea.
We got a debate going on? I don't know. Juan's apologizing for something.
Oh, I think it's the whole box wine thing.
Yeah, the box wine. He started a very feisty debate on the box wine stuff, for sure. So you would never host, Frank would never host the party, I guess, for one of his, a watch party for one of his favorite teams.
Oh, God, no.
You wouldn't.
If it was for today, if it was Mets Tigers on a holiday, then sure.
You
I have
can't
no
really
problem
do
doing that.
a watch party for baseball in the season, though. The equivalent is you have to playoff game.
No, I couldn't.
Couldn't do it.
I
got a lot of friends that can't do that either.
Because I have a very thin facade that I try to keep up when I'm out in public and around people that I care about.
Okay.
I don't need you guys to see me throwing things at the slightest inconvenience for one of my teams. I don't need you guys seeing that. So I don't. That's why I isolate myself in my room when important games are on.
That seems fair enough. I have now hosted a watch party for TCU football twice. By the way, Nick Lodolo must have had a great time watching the Frogs last night. Where are the Reds today?
Oops. They are at home against Tirana.
He's at home. He was supposed to pitch today. He got scratched with a illness of frog fever after TCU just destroyed North Carolina last night. A great last night.
Oops.
Talked about the college football rankings, the top 25. High school football week 1 results. They do a week 0 too. So this is technically week 1 from last week. New top 10 is out from the Union Tribune that I vote in. Lincoln is the number 1 team after beating Long Beach Poly over the weekend 2-0. They're now 2-0. They destroyed Long Beach Poly. Cathedral Catholic comes in at number 2. 5 first place votes. They're 2-0. Mission Hills 3. Granite Hills 4. La Costa Canyon 5. Carlsbad 6, San Marcos 7, Poway 8, Mount McGill 9, El Camino 10. LCC destroyed Mount McGill on Friday. I mean, destroyed them. LCC looked really good. I mean, Mount McGill's got all of these D1 guys. They talk about all these D1 players they have all the time. LCC just curb stomped them over the weekend. 45-13 victory for LCC over Mount McGill. Quinn Roth, 3 touchdown passes. Jackson McGuire had 3 scores. Head coach Sean Sovacool credited depth, discipline, culture, noting the Mavericks played 65 players and didn't turn the ball over once. LCC has now won 12 of its last 13 games after last year's late season loss in the playoffs. 12 of 13. LCC is pretty good. That's a team to watch up there in the North County. I think LCC is the best team in the North County. Mission Hills is probably up there too. Mission Hills got a victory. Carlsbad sent a message to the North County with a huge win over Oceanside as well. San Marcos back to their winning ways after beating Tesoro. Poway's off to a 2-0 start. Mount Miguel takes that big L to LCC, and then El Camino takes a loss last week. They're still in the top 10. Lincoln stayed dominant with their blowout win, as mentioned. Cathedral and Granite also flexed their muscle over the weekend. San Marcos bounced back with a 45-14 win. Several ranked teams like El Camino and Helix struggled. Mount Carmel pulled off a dramatic comeback against La Jolla Country Day. You're looking at 4 teams at the top right now, maybe 5, battling for an open division. Lincoln, Cathedral, Mission Hills, Granite Hills, LCC, and now Carlsbad, I think, has entered the conversation. That's what happened last weekend in high school football. This weekend, more big games again. We'll talk more about that coming up on Friday. But we need to get to today's Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's not good. Are you kidding me, Mr.
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Mac in Kearney Mesa playing today. Mac, how you doing today, bud?
All right, Mac.
Pretty good. Good afternoon. How you guys doing?
Good. So today's topic might be a little bit tough for you, Mac, because this might be a walk in the park for Braden here. Today's topic, there are 12 answers to this one, so you guys can tie schools with the most Heisman Trophy winners since 2000. So the top 12 schools that have won the most Heisman trophies since 2000. Mac, you have the first crack.
Let's go with USC.
USC is on the list.
Oklahoma.
OU on the list. Mac.
Alabama.
Bama is on the list.
Florida State.
Florida State on the list.
There's 12 of these teams.
You're already quartered
Go
with
with
it. Good.
Michigan.
No, Michigan not on the list.
My next guess would be LSU.
GEAUX Tigers.
That's how you spell it this week.
Mac.
Ohio State.
OSU.
How many more do we got?
We've got 6, so we're halfway there.
Okay. So it's like anybody that's won a Heisman? Like any school?
Yeah, the teams that have won the most since 2000. Yeah.
Which is like anybody that has won a Heisman
Yes.
since 2000. Okay, well, all right. Robert Griffin III won. Baylor.
Baylor, correct. Mac?
Georgia.
Georgia not on this list. So that's 2 strikes for you, Mac. Braden?
Travis Hunter won it last year. Colorado.
All right. So, you got 5. So, Mac, you got to get this one.
Go with Auburn.
Damn.
Auburn is correct. So, Braden, you can clinch it right here. Clinch at least a tie right here.
Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M.
All right. So, Mac, you're going to have to get this one right and then hope Braden gets the next couple wrong so you can tie him here.
Did we already say Texas?
Negative, not on this list, unfortunately, and that is strike 3. We've got 2 left here, Braden.
Lamar, Louisville.
And the last.
Tim Tebow, Florida.
There you go. So there it is. Your top 12 schools that have won the most Heisman trophies since 2000.
How about it?
So now that means you guys all get a chance to go to the concert at Gallagher Square.
Yes. What number caller do you want to be?
Let's go with, let's take number 4.
All right, fourth caller. If you are the fourth caller, you will win 2 tickets to Head and Heart at Gallagher Square on September 29th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Fourth caller, and you will win 2 tickets to the Head and the Heart at Gallagher Square on September 29th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. I can't believe we're already 3 hours into the show. We got to dive back into Padres baseball. Got a game against the Orioles coming up at 6:40. Pregame Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show at 5:40. San Diego FC swept both matches in LA this year in 2025 after a nice win on Saturday 2-1, continuing their great season. We'll talk a little bit about that as well, and we'll dive more into college football. We didn't get to all of the things in college football. We'll get to that in the next hour as well. Talking a lot of different things on a Tuesday, which really feels like a Monday, but I digress on that. The thing with the Padres, we've been talking about how do you fix the problem that might be Xander Bogaerts not in the playoffs. What about the pitching problem? Starting pitching is a slight problem. I don't think it's a gigantic problem, but it is a slight problem. We'll talk about that. So we start talking about October baseball in San Diego when we come back.
Baseball season is back, and that means a whole lot of Padres talk, even on the Scraby Show. I'll put my spin on Padres talk, and I'll get your opinion too. Join me weekdays from 6 to 7 p.m. as the Padres schedule allows on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, it's Ben Higgins, and I'll admit it, I like being right about sports. Big shocker, I know. But with PrizePicks, being right about sports can get you paid. And with football season getting underway, now is the time to turn all those hours you spend watching games on TV into real money. Just set lineups between 2 and 6 players based on stat projections. Saquon Barkley, more or less than 1 rushing touchdown. Josh Allen, more or less than 270 passing yards. The more you pick, the more you can win. And millions of PrizePicks players across the country have already won billions of dollars. And I'm one of them. I've been playing for over a year and have made several withdrawals from my account, which is fast and easy since PrizePicks takes Venmo, Apple Pay, even MasterCard. It's all fast, safe, and secure. All you need to get started is to download the app and use the code KWFN to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. That's code KWFN to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for more details.
When your reputation's on the line, you don't leave anything to chance, especially your primer. Painters trust Kills primers for a smooth start, strong adhesion, and serious stain blocking power. And now, the full Kills lineup is available exclusively at the Home Depot. Need it fast? Get same day or next day delivery, or order online and pick up in store. Kills primers. Pro results faster. The Home Depot. If you're a pro, you know.
At Ralph's, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower than low prices. Hand it to Ralph's shoppers. You never compromise. Ralph's. Fresh for everyone.
Right now, Ralph's is offering free delivery with any order of $75 or more. No hidden charges. See the app for details. Ralph's. Fresh for everyone.
That nagging joint pain, you know the one. Sometimes it's from years of hard work. Sometimes, like me, it just crept up on me the older I got. Either way, it's been calling the shots in your life for far too long. Do what I did. Put a stop to that right now, gang. It is Woodsy and QC Kinetics here in San Diego. Flipped the script for me totally. They used regenerative medicine, advanced cellular treatments that help my body heal and restore the damage that I had in my joints. Not cover it up, not cut it out, actually helping heal and restore. And the results, long-term, lasting relief. I'm back in the gym. I am back playing golf. I'm back playing baseball, throwing my kids around, having a blast with it. QC Kinetics, no surgery, no drugs, no long recovery, just a smarter, natural way to get your freedom back. Bring your MRI, bring your x-rays. They'll make sure you're a good candidate for what they do. Grab the phone right now. Give them a call today. They have locations in Hillcrest and in Torrey Hills. 619-614-PAIN. 619-614-PAIN. QC Kinetics at 619-614-PAIN.
Straight Talk presents the math of more. Here's how it works. When you say yes to more with Straight Talk, you're left with more for all the other good stuff. So getting an unlimited plan starting at just $25 a month equals more savings for your family's weekend adventures. And with a network covered by Verizon, you can share more from wherever you go. It's simple math, really. More equals more with Straight Talk. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Taxes and fees apply. The $25 plan requires a compatible unlocked device and a new line of service. Additional terms apply.
It's time. Time for the pro to get everything for the entire job, all from one partner. To get access to over 3 million products, including many products you won't find in our stores. It's time to get delivery on your schedule or next day on over 50,000 products. And time to get dedicated support on the job site or in our stores. From ordering to planning, we've got you. One partner, any job, all in. Ask about all we can now do at the Pro Desk. The Home Depot Pro, it's about time.
The NFL season has arrived. Saquon Barkley and the defending champion Eagles host Dak Prescott and the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. Our coverage begins Thursday at 4. The NFL plays here on 97.3 The Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Joe Musgrove, and Musgrove's 101st pitch of the night is swung on and missed.
The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, and Odyssey Sports Station.
One o'clock on a Tuesday. I have to keep saying it. I'm sorry I keep saying it. I have to keep saying it so I keep reminding myself today's Tuesday. It's going to throw my entire week off. And here's the other thing, too. It was traveling in a 24-hour time frame to and from the Bay Area. It was having Monday off. It's just a lot of different things. All fun, not complaining. I mean, it was a great weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. But that being said, today's felt like a Monday, but it's really Tuesday. It's going to throw off my calendar. Again, tomorrow, day game, which preempts us a little bit. It's just I'm all over the place with that. We got the NFL on Thursday. We got the NFL on Friday. For a lot of people in town, they actually care about Friday's game. I'm not one of them. You going to watch Friday's game, Frank?
What game Friday, sorry?
Kansas City and
no, God no.
And the Chargers?
Nope.
Is it even on TV or is it on
it's
like
on
a streaming
YouTube.
thing? It's on YouTube TV?
Mm-hmm.
If the NFL game is on YouTube TV and nobody's there to watch it, does it make a sound?
No, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Because I said it in the chat. It's hidden away on, not only is it hidden away on YouTube, it's in Brazil.
Is this the same situation as last year when they went down there where they couldn't even leave their hotel room?
I don't know.
I don't get the international games drive me nuts to the National Football League. Drive me nuts. I love the memes last night from the TCU game. So funny. Did you see the one where TCU was up 41-7 on North Carolina?
I sent that to you, yes.
Yeah, I got it sent to me so many times. Coincidentally, Bill Belichick was 41 when Jordan Hudson was 7.
And then, of course, some party pooper in the chat was like, actually, he was 59 when she was 7. It's like, bro, joke.
It's a joke.
Can we stop being
funny.
so literal?
NFL Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has left the UNC game at halftime in order to make it home for bedtime. Hilarious. TCU football tweeted out, "Babe, go back to sleep." hilarious. I mean, it's just like they were on a roll last night.
Yeah, they were. And like I said, I told you, I don't really like that kind of thing. Like going, like your team's social media attacking another team after a win. I don't find that, because I'm a believer in karma. That's why I try not to say anything bad about our opposing team unless it's Philadelphia, which they earn and deserve it.
Right.
Because that stuff always comes back and bites you in the worst ways.
They're getting their revenge tour from the entire summer of saying that TCU has no chance to deal with Bill Belichick and all that other stuff. So they're enjoying their moment. I'm not opposed to it. Well, I can't wait for that when we play SMU. And we'll see about that. All right. Padres baseball tonight is at 6:40. Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show is at 5:40. We talked about the position player problems that the Padres have, right? We talked about the position player problems that the Padres have, and it's mostly injuries. Not a great time to lose your starting shortstop for, a month. And I don't even know what they haven't even really announced his recovery time. They haven't announced what it's going to be like for him, the process. It's been very vague. I honestly don't need to know what the details are. Xander Bogaerts believes he can come back at the end of the regular season. I don't necessarily know if I can really lean on that. So in the first hour of the show, and really the first 2 hours of the show, we discussed what the potential solution would be that gives the Padres the best chance to win in the postseason without Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. And we had come to the conclusion that Jackson Merrill playing shortstop probably puts together your best lineup that you would have in a playoff game. We have come to that conclusion. We went through the whole, defensive alignment, didn't make a batting order. We had Sheets in left, Laureano in center, Fernando in right, Manny at third, Jackson at shortstop, Cronenworth at second, O'Hearn at first, Luis Arraez DHing, and Freddie Fermin catching. I think that's your best lineup to win if you do not have Xander Bogaerts in the postseason. Now, we don't think that's going to happen. There's still a possibility, obviously, that Xander Bogaerts is back for the playoffs. He is keeping his, thoughts hopeful on that. But that's honestly not even maybe the biggest problem for the Padres. Now, right now, Jackson Merrill should be back in the lineup today, I would imagine. He did play yesterday. He was activated yesterday. He did play yesterday. Came in as a pinch runner. I feel like he'll probably be in the lineup today. Fernando Tatis Jr., I would think, would probably have another day off with the hamstring situation that he has been dealing with. Got a little tight on him late in the game against the Twins on Sunday. Late scratch in last night's game. Maybe it's just a one day off. Maybe it's just a one-off, or maybe it's going to be, a couple of days for Fernando. But despite all of those injuries, and again, losing Jason Adam yesterday is not great. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. What is the biggest problem right now for the Padres? And I don't think it's as big of a problem as what a lot of people say. It's the starting pitching. Can you trust Yu Darvish right now as a starting pitcher for the Padres? Can you trust Dylan Cease? I mean, Dylan Cease has just been not great. And I don't know. You were taking the chance that Dylan Cease was going to figure things out for the second half of the season, or at least like a month. I mean, he's got a month left to try to put something together before you get to the postseason. Because I don't think a lot of Padres fans can trust Dylan Cease in a playoff game as a starting pitcher. He's making that more and more difficult to do. Yu Darvish trending in the right direction, but he keeps going like a step forward and a step back, or maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I mean, he's been right there back and forth. That's another guy. Nick Pivetta, I think, is probably the most trustworthy starting pitcher, but he hasn't looked as dominant as of late. And you don't know what you're going to get out of Michael King. You haven't seen Michael King. And for the majority of the season, when he came back, he was good, and then he got another injury with the knee this time. And we'll see if Michael King pitches sometime this week. I mean, you got Yu Darvish tonight, Nestor Cortez tomorrow. Nestor Cortez, again, has been up and down. He's had some really good starts. He has had some really bad starts. Your starting pitching is a massive problem to win the division. I'll put it in that term. If you want to win the division, if you as a Padres fan are sitting there going, I really want to see the San Diego Padres win the division, what do they have to do? That is the person that can be worried about the starting pitching. Because it is a problem. I mean, your level of trust with some of these guys is not very high. I don't think it's very high with Dylan Cease. I don't think it's very... I trust Yu Darvish more than that, but I don't think that's a for sure thing at his age now, even though I think he's done a fine job. My trust level in Nestor Cortez isn't great. I feel like any point in time, that can blow up. I liked Randy Vasquez this year. Really like Randy Vasquez this year. But I also don't think Randy Vasquez is like a trustworthy piece down the stretch or in the playoffs. JP Sears, I mean, that guy keeps going up and down and up and down. The only one you can really trust right now is Nick Pivetta. And you got to wait for Michael King to get built up. Again, he's got a couple of weeks to do it. But until then, starting pitching is now a little shaky for the Padres. And I think it's been shaky for a lot of fans out there for the last couple of weeks or so. Now, the silver lining in this is I don't necessarily think starting pitching for the Padres, or at least starting pitching in the postseason, is as necessary. I don't think it's as necessary because you have a bullpen. And in the postseason, the last couple of years, it's been the bullpen. It's been the bullpen for most schools, or for most teams. It's been a bullpen that has gotten them through the playoffs and through the postseason. And your bullpen took a hit yesterday with the Jason Adam injury. So a lot of things right now, not that great for the Padres, but they can bounce back tonight against Baltimore and get back on track. I mean, losing 2 out of 3 to Minnesota it's really unacceptable. You can't be losing. And I understand they're a professional baseball team too, and all the same excuses that you hear all the time from every type of baseball person. At the same time, good teams beat bad teams all the time. And the Padres have done that the best out of anybody in Major League Baseball all season. They need to continue that. And they need to do that again tonight against Baltimore. They're going against the guy that hasn't made a start yet. 0-0, no ERA. Going against Yu Darvish. It'd be nice to see some vintage Yu Darvish tonight for the San Diego Padres. And I'm curious to see what the lineup looks like. Again, to me, the Jackson Merrill situation at shortstop is break glass in case of emergency. Just don't do it by the pool. Learned that the hard way yesterday. I feel bad for Nicky, dude. He had to leave his car at my house. Teslas. Apparently you have to use your phone.
It was his own fault, though.
We had somebody yesterday jump into the pool, forgot their phone was in their pocket. I don't own a Tesla, so I don't know how those work. But apparently his keys are on his phone. I guess that's a thing.
I guess so, too.
I don't know. So he couldn't get into his car. It's still outside my house. I don't know how you fix that problem. I guess he's got to go get a new phone.
You got to call some... Oh.
Yeah. He tried to log in, so my other friend's girlfriend's got a Tesla. He tried to log in on his phone to try to... And they sent him they would send him activation codes to his phone. And then to his email, and then through the email was through his phone. Crazy. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll continue the Padres conversation just a little bit, but San Diego FC had a big weekend. Yet again, they continue to have a phenomenal season in their first year. We're going to discuss that when we come back in the final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 118 on a Tuesday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant show rolls on as we lead you to 2 o'clock where Gwen and Chris will take over. Tony Gwynn Jr. excited about football getting back. Saw him in studio today. Just walked in. He looked like he had a good plate of food.
He's not doing the game today?
Maybe he's not. Maybe he is. Maybe he's going. I don't know. He's up. He's here. Saw him here. So Gwen and Chris.
Why ain't that interesting?
All right. San Diego FC continuing their magical season. It's been a fun season to watch. Fun season to pay attention to. They played last night or no Sunday. They played Sunday. They played Sunday.
Yes, Sunday night. Yes.
They played Sunday night. Again, I still think today's Monday. So take that for what it's worth. San Diego FC wins 2-1. LAFC jumped out to a 1-0 lead in that game. And then San Diego FC got a couple of goals. Chucky Lozano in the 33rd minute, Andres Dreyer in the 66th minute. Andres Dreyer continuing to put together a great season.
He's going to be the league MVP this year. There's no doubt.
They were given a 23% chance at winning the match against LAFC. Remember all the drama with the tickets and the brand new player and the yes and the that, and they're playing well and yada, 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 yada. San Diego FC had a 23% chance of winning the match in LA. San Diego FC looked dominant on defense and in possession. Saw them put together a great win, and they tie MLS record for consecutive road wins now with 7. San Diego FC is 5-0 against California teams this season. They, with 5 MLS matches left before the end of, they have 5 MLS matches left before the end of the season. 4 of them are going to be at Snapdragon and 2 on the road, commanding 5-point lead on Minnesota United FC in the West as they continue to compete for the Supporters Shield in Major League Soccer. What did you get out of Sunday's game?
That no stage is too big for them, because this was supposed to be LAFC's night. It was their big debut. It was in front of their crowd. It was supposed to be LAFC's night. I don't think I've ever seen San Diego FC with such a little win percentage chance. They gave LAFC a 52% chance to win that game. And then 23% for San Diego FC, and then the rest of it was for a draw. They looked like they were 100% ready for the challenge, ready for the task at hand. And for San Diego FC just to continue to be on this run. And I said it to you on Thursday when I was sending you pictures from Snapdragon at San Diego State's game. If you give people a reason to come, they will show up. They will show up in droves. And San Diego FC, by tying the MLS expansion club record for points in a single season at 58, most consecutive wins on the road by any expansion team at 7. Most going 5-0 against California teams, 2-0 in Los Angeles this year. That is 110% giving people a reason to show up. You had the Los Angeles Dodgers here a couple of weeks ago. 41,000 people showed up to Petco, or 45 or whatever the number was on that Saturday night. And 29,000 people showed up to Snapdragon. If there was ever going to be a night where attendance for San Diego FC was going to be sparse, it would have been that night. But they packed that place against the Portland Timbers, a team that is on the fringe of an MLS Cup playoff spot. They packed that place out. An unbelievable atmosphere, as it always is. And now, next Saturday night, when you play Minnesota United, you have a chance to really put the West to bed, because that is the team that you are fighting in the West to win the conference. So first and second will play each other at Snapdragon Stadium next Saturday night. And I know it says the 5 MLS matches left, 4 games at Snapdragon, 2 games on the road. That 4th game is the the friendly against TJ.
Tijuana.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of time. There are still a few games at Snapdragon that you can still go to watch and support this team. And if you have never been before, I'll say it again, as somebody who's been to about 7 or 8 games already this year, definitely go. It is a party every single night. It is one of the best sports atmospheres I have ever been to. Unbelievable crowd support for a brand new team that is trying to set up what the future is going to look like, and it looks amazing so far.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool to watch them play. It's been cool to see them be on this magical run.
Bless you.
And it's been cool to follow them. I mean, they're in line with the Padres right now of being near the top of their respective sport. They're a little bit higher, obviously, and putting together a great campaign in their first year at the MLS level, first year of being an organization. We talked to Tyler Heaps about, what it's like putting this team together and now seeing it come together and seeing the support from the city and everything that's around San Diego FC. And now it's just kind of like holding serve and trying to just make it through the last 6 games before you get ready for playoff soccer here in America's finest city.
Yeah, and you're only 1 point off of the supporter shield as well. The Philadelphia Union have that lead at 57 points. San Diego FC has 56. You've kind of broken away from Cincinnati, who was the team you were facing. Now you have a 4-point lead over Cincinnati, and then Minnesota is right behind them at 51. So if you really want to look at it, you can't lose the lead in the Western Conference against Minnesota next Saturday. You effectively have a 2-game lead, like a game and a half lead on Minnesota. So you can't lose the lead in the Western Conference there. Minnesota is also one of the 3 teams now that have clinched a playoff spot. San Diego FC was the first, and Minnesota and the Philadelphia Union both clinched a playoff spot last week. And looking down the line, Montreal and DC United are the only 2 that have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. And believe it or not, the LA Galaxy only have 19 points on the year, 4 points after winning, 4 wins on the year after winning the MLS Cup last year. They're still not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs out of the West.
That's
even
incredible.
Though they are the worst team in the league by far.
We'll see where San Diego FC goes in the postseason. But as you mentioned, and we've talked about with Drake Hills a lot, and you already mentioned earlier segment, Andres Dreyer is going to win the MVP, you think?
He has to. He has been.
Who else is close?
So good. I haven't followed as much as I should, especially to the Eastern Conference. I do watch some of the Red Bulls matches every now and again, but as far as Anders Dreyer goes, he has been so good this year. He has really been that star player to play alongside Chucky Lozano that they needed to really build this up. I'm trying to go to his stats here. 14 goals, 18 assists, pass success rate of 81%. That is absolutely huge for a guy who's played almost 2,600 minutes this season. So he has been unbelievable. And if it wasn't because Lozano's been hurt a little bit this year, they've had a lot of questions as far as who your striker is going to be. Dreyer has been that guy who has been able to produce consistently all year long. He is a blue-eyed killer for San Diego FC.
We'll have more updates on San Diego FC, obviously, as the season continues. Getting down to the nitty-gritty now at the end of the MLS season. As we mentioned before, 5 games left in the MLS, 6 games, including the friendly. We'll see what San Diego FC has for us in the playoffs, as they are still trying to track down the number 1 spot overall, win that Supporters Shield here at the end of the MLS season. We'll talk more San Diego FC later on in the week, but when we come back, a preview of tonight's game, Padres and Orioles. What do we want to see out of the Padres today, aside from obviously a win? And we'll kind of recap what happened in college football. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Talking a lot of Padres baseball today. College football is back. Talked some San Diego FC in the last segment. And it's great. This is the best time of the year. I love this time of the year. This is the only a handful of years ago, we started getting humidity at this time of the year, which sucks. But aside from that, this has been the best time of the year for us here in San Diego. It's great. Got warm weather, hot weather, very hot weather. We got college football back. The NFL's back this week. As a big football fan that I am, love that. You got Padres baseball in the thick of a pennant race. Obviously, some things might not be looking up like they were going into the weekend, but they could bounce back again today and get it done. High school football. I mean, there's so much that we could talk about. It's great. I want to talk a little bit more about the college football weekend, and then we're going to dive into a preview for the Padres game tonight. All right, back to, and we talked a little bit about this in the noon hour before we were interrupted with barbecue coverage, which was great because most of the people that came over to my house for barbecue brought most of the leftovers home. So it means I'm not swimming in barbecue, which is fantastic. We talked about some of the games that we picked, but we didn't talk about all the college football games that were like notable over the weekend. I asked you this question yesterday at the barbecue. How are we feeling about Penn State, big dog?
Feeling pretty good about Penn State, honestly. Defense was incredible. Dennis Sutton is going to be an absolute monster on that defensive line, along with Zane Durant. A.J. Harris, I believe, had either a pick or a fumble recovery, one of the two. But that defense, I know it was against Nevada, and they play Florida Worldwide this upcoming week, but still, that you could see some things. That was a very, very standout defensive performance by Penn State against Nevada.
Penn State looked pretty good. The Florida State-Alabama game. And again, like, poor Rod, and he's on vacation right now in Hawaii. He's a Bama guy. I tried to warn him. I tried to warn you guys last week. 13.5 points is ridiculous. I haven't seen that at Alabama. And here's what I was talking about before. This is why, like, the Big Ten and schools in the Big Ten are going to surpass the SEC. And I'm not a huge Big Ten fan. I know Frank is. Frank likes to give me his corporate Big Ten responses to a lot of things.
Yep. That's what I'm here for.
The SEC definitely has more passion than the Big Ten. I will say that.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Stop it.
I've been to both areas. The SEC's level is psychotic compared to the Big Ten. It just means more in the SEC for all of their sports. Okay?
Because it's the only thing around.
It's not wrong, but it's still, that's important to them more than all the other things. And the SEC environments, I still think, are way better than all the other Big Ten environments. Not to say that they're not, because it's, Autzen Stadium's fun, and the Horseshoe's great, and the Big House is great, and Happy Valley on a whiteout is great. But you also have to worry about, Rutgers and Maryland and Illinois and Indiana, who's better this year than last year. But hey, they're not scary places to play. At least Purdue. In the SEC, every place is a difficult place to play. And I'm not even a big SEC fan. But here's where the Big Ten is taking over. Okay, Alabama was at the top of the game for a long time because the SEC back in the day used to have a gentleman's agreement with themselves on how much they would pay players to be there. Through under the table stuff, whatever it may be. And just using figures. In the SEC, they made a gentleman's agreement with each other that they weren't going to spend more than $1 million on a quarterback. Let's just say that. Okay, we're going to use $1 million because it's easy. Okay? So if every SEC school is paying $1 million for a quarterback to make it competitively the same, so you're competing with the same guys. Alabama used to go $1 million 0.1. They throw in an extra $100,000. They could get the extra player. And they would do that. Every position had a different level of money that these schools would pay. And it was a gentleman's agreement. Well, Saban was going a little bit more than what the gentleman's agreement was. And then, you know this because Kirby Smart started doing it at Georgia. Why? Because Kirby Smart coached with Saban at Alabama. And so Kirby Smart started doing this. And guess what happened? Georgia started getting really good at football. Georgia started winning national championships. Georgia started to surpass Alabama. And Nick Saban tried to call out Kirby Smart, and Kirby Smart was like, hey, man, doing everything that Nick does, and then that kind of squashed the whole deal. And the SEC teams were at the dominant force of college football. Now, all of the rules, everybody plays by the same rules. And schools are handing out money, and they're handing out gobs of money for players. And what schools are starting to become really, really good again? Schools like, I don't know, SMU, who's a big private school in Dallas that's got a ton of money. All of a sudden, SMU went to the college football playoff last year. It's not fun anymore, is it, Alabama? And I strongly dislike SMU, but they got money, they spent it, they got better. It's not crazy. Oregon's got a lot of money. Oregon's got Phil Knight money. Oregon's got Nike money. Oregon, everybody's playing by the same rules, is a top 10 team in the country. Michigan, Ohio State, they are great academic institutions that have produced CEOs and billionaires at Fortune 500 companies. They're spending money. They're doing better than Alabama. You look at some of the other schools. Texas Tech. Texas Tech is going to be very good this year. Texas Tech had the best transfer class in the country. Texas Tech has a booster who just sold his oil company for $4 billion and is now pumping it into Texas Tech athletics. All of a sudden, hey, everybody can play by the same rules. Look at all of these other teams and schools that have caught up. Notre Dame, private school, got a lot of money, got a lot of rich alumni, putting it together in the national championship last year. I mean, watch. You will see other private schools that have a ton of money start being good at a lot of different sports. You're going to start seeing schools that have wealthy alumni start being good at football or other sports. Alabama playing under the same rules as everybody else, just an average team. They're slightly above average. They're a good football team. They're not the king of college football anymore. That reign is over. It's never going to be the same. The years of dominant college football teams that are so much better than everybody else is never going to be the same. It's, I guess, one of the perks of NIL. Yes, the rich are getting richer, but the rich are competing with each other a lot more. Texas and Ohio State was a close game. Texas, another school. Texas is a school that had just not been very good for like a decade plus, and all of a sudden you can start spending money, and boom, they're number one in the country. Because they got the money. Oklahoma State with Mike Gundy. They play Oregon this week. There's already been some chirping back and forth. Gundy on his radio show talked about how Oregon has this unlimited budget and they should start playing schools that are their caliber in terms of their budget. I don't necessarily know if that's really out there, but Dan Lanning didn't like that too much. And he said, you know what we do? We invest in wins. We invest in our product. I mean, now you just can say it. They got the resources. They're using it to try to win football games. But you're going to see a lot more schools like that. You're going to see a lot less schools like Alabama and in the SEC, because the reason why they were doing so well, they could get Joe, the car dealership owner, to throw him a couple $100,000 to get kids and good athletes to go to their schools. Now, Joe car dealer doesn't have the same kind of money as CEO billionaire or major corporation owner billionaire, or I just sold my oil company billionaire. That's dropping a ton of money into their programs. Not only that, so a lot of the reason why they were so dominant was because of that. The other thing is Nick Saban's a great coach. They had the best talent and he had the best coaching staff. Kalen DeBoer, bro, this ain't Washington anymore. I can't imagine the phone calls that have been blowing up Paul Feinbaum's show this week. They want to get rid of Kalen DeBoer already. They got to pay him $70 million for him to go away. $70 million, that got to go away. I just don't think a lot of these SEC schools still have that kind of money. It's a new era of college football. And you're not going to have the same dominant teams just dominating all the time. You're going to see a top-heavy amount with all the rich schools. But I don't necessarily think you're going to get this dominant level. Again, looking at college football over the weekend. Teams that stood out. Teams that are off to a good start. I like San Diego State. I like the way that they played on Thursday. We'll talk more about them later in the week. They got Washington State this week. I thought Nebraska played pretty well against Cincinnati last week, too. Kansas is off to a decent start. They haven't really played that top-level competition. How about Colorado? Georgia Tech went into Boulder and got a win, 27-20. Last Friday. I thought Tennessee looked good over Syracuse. I thought Arizona looked really good against Hawaii. Take that for what it's worth. Georgia steamrolled Marshall. Wasn't that big of a deal. Miami, able to get Notre Dame early in the season. Michigan did okay against New Mexico. Kansas State's been kind of struggling. I can't believe they're still, they were ranked last week still. Lost to Iowa State and Ireland, and then North Dakota gave them a run for their money. Oklahoma cruised against Illinois State. Texas A&M did well against UTSA. Kind of same week one plays that you would see. But overall, I'm excited for college football to be back. Can't wait for this week in college football. We're going to talk more about that later in the week. We're going to get our picks with Skylar. Again, as mentioned before, Skylar and I both went 6-4. Frank went 3-7. Frank's not going to have a performance like that again. We already know that. Not great when Frank texted the results. I participated. Mom beat you by 2 games.
Shut up, man. Why you got to do that?
Yellow pants, dude. Yellow pants. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Padres and Orioles tonight. Now, Skylar, the college football goat. No, she would be the queen of college football. Get the name right, Juan. Let's get out to Martin and Santee. Martin, what's going on? How was your weekend?
Good, gentlemen, and congratulations on the Friday night victory and the Monday night victory to you, Braden, and Happy Valley was a happy place for Frank as well. So
that's right.
Great work, and yeah, TCU looks good. I don't know much about your program, Braden, but they dominated. They just kicked ass, like you said earlier. A little concerned. I don't bring takes very often. But Padres, I'm concerned. Runners in scoring position, like they've said all year, getting people in starting pitching, all the things you've discussed. I still have faith. These are the Padres. Schilt, second half manager. I'm all in with that. But also too, it's and also your take on San Diego State. I actually sat down to watch the game. they do look good. They are going to win more than whatever 4, 5, 6 games. I really think that they can be a program with their monster offensive line. I think they need to toughen up a little bit in the trenches, but other than that, all good. So anyway, guys, just a little concern on the Padres. You know, Bogart's going down, Merrill hopefully coming back, Tatis hopefully just minor, get through this thigh thing, hamstring, whatever. And appreciate you guys and what you bring, as always, each day. And Braden, Sue, specifically covering the high school sports, bringing, you know, from high school to college to MLS. And Frank, your input on the MLS is invaluable as well. I don't have Apple TV, so I don't watch the games. I read about them and listen to you guys for your take. And then Braden, the gentleman you have on normally on Fridays, I can't remember his name,
Drake,
with the MLS coverage. Trey, yes. And it's just a nice input, the questions, the banter back and forth between you, and what he brings to the show. It keeps me MLS happy, and especially with this anyway, the Chrome. Oh, we'll leave it at that. Gentlemen, have a great week. I'm going to try to get out to the game. Thank you, Frank. Tomorrow, and maybe introduce myself to you too.
Yeah, Martin, come by and say hi. We're going to be out there at the loft. It'll be a fun time. Can't wait for it. And appreciate Martin with the phone call.
Thanks, Uncle Martin.
We talked about Utah earlier in the show today. Utah dominated. Utah's getting back to Utah. I mean, last year for Utah was rough. That was a rough Utah team. Because when TCU beat Utah last year, at that point in time, that was a rough TCU football team. I mean, they were running like Wildcat with Savion Williams. I mean, it was not a great game, the Utah-TCU game. Utah physically dominated UCLA. And UCLA's not good. They're not good. They are not good. The Nico pickup is going to be a catastrophic failure. But I thought the Big 12 overall looked pretty good this week. I thought TCU looked great last night. I thought they flew to the ball on defense. I thought offensively, their rushing attack was great, something that they wanted to work on during the offseason. Josh Hoover, stud quarterback. He had some dots last night. And I thought TCU handled the circus of the Bill Belichick situation way better than they handled the Deion circus a couple of years ago. But I thought they looked great.
Like my friend said, Hoover keeps throwing balls like that. He can wear that furry outfit all he wants.
That was all fake news. That was all BS. But you know what? 1-0, baby.
Wear it with pride, buddy.
1-0, baby. Take that check, Tennessee, and go shove it where the sun don't shine. Josh Hoover staying in Fort Worth. Yeah, Utah's good. I thought the Big 12 looked really good. I thought the SEC I thought they looked vulnerable. I thought the top teams in the Big 10. I think Penn State looks the best out of the Big 10 teams. They have the most experience. I think the quarterback situation for, the young quarterback situation for Ohio State is going to be a factor. I like Penn State in that league. I think Oregon looked pretty good. I think you saw a lot of different testers early. I think the Big 12 is going to be fun to watch. I'm excited for Big 12 football. I thought the ACC impressed, Frank. ACC had a good weekend this weekend.
Yeah.
They had a good weekend.
Yesterday wasn't all that good.
Yesterday wasn't great, but they had a good weekend this weekend.
They did. They had a very nice showing this weekend.
Florida State with a victory, SMU, Pittsburgh, Boston College, Louisville.
Pittsburgh walloped whoever they were playing. I forget who they were playing, but they walked them.
Yeah. Didn't have as good of a weekend as the Big 12, though. So take that for its worth. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in. Gwen and Chris coming up next. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Short show. Padres baseball against the Orioles. Padres, game 2 tonight, 6:40. Talk to you tomorrow.